switching?
I switched. Why?
Just in time for YouTube to complain about the audio bitrate, just as we fix it.
Excuse me, there's no audio.
We're working on it. You should let us know ahead of time and not once we go to fix it. Anyway, hi, Internet. Hello. Yes, it's what's up. I feel like we're pretty loud. Anyway, while Lucky is fixing that, so to explain what we're doing here, this is what's up. In case you forgot that that's a thing that we do, because we missed it for a couple of weeks. Lucky's been sick. But normally we do this live on Saturday. Small problem. Normally on Fridays we record Let's Talk FGO. The problem is there is nothing to talk about yet. There's like 2 new banners in JP, which aren't super crazy. Like, we'll mention them, but they're not a big deal. And tomorrow is the Anime NYC panel, which it was confirmed earlier this week will be streamed. So there's no point in doing the show today when there would be literally nothing. It would be like 10 minutes of news. I think we've got like 6 mailbags right now, so like 30 minutes of that, and then we go home. It's not worth it, especially when we're going to get scooped anyway. So I talked to Lucky today and said it was okay to do a little switcheroo-do. And so we're doing What's Up today.
Yeah.
Because it's been a busy week, Internet. Hell, it's been a busy couple of days since we last spoke to you. Which was, interestingly enough, also in Final Fantasy XIV. Oh, hey, it's the Guard Scorpion. That's really funny.
Yeah.
I was going to bring this up anyway, but I have been going back and watching a Final Fantasy VII Remake Let's Play. Because I constantly tell myself I want to play the game again, but then also I'm like, oh, but I don't want to spend 40 hours. I got new shit to do. Literally just got Pokemon today. You can listen later for my first impressions. But one of the guys on that series talked about how the Guard Scorpion boss in Remake is just this model. It's the exact same model they used for 14, just retouched a little. Like, they upped up the texture quality. I think he probably has maybe some new animations for some of his new attacks. But yeah, it was just very funny that, that was mentioned to me, like, yesterday while watching a video. And there he is right on screen.
Ta-da!
Synergy. But before we get into the many, many things we can talk about this week, I would like to remember and not to forget that this episode is still brought to you by our patrons like Adam DeHarp, Architect 10, Blex Doji, Carlos, Dragon, Ferris, Jeremy Vasquez, Jesus the Fae, John Sandoval, Jedi Boss Hunter, We Raptor, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, Trevor, Sean Fire, some guy named Bob, Sarah 23, and Baron the Crow. And if you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can access episodes early and other goodies. Like, you can listen to the Before Times, where Lucky got pizza sliced a little and yelled.
Yeah.
In classic fashion.
That's how I do. It's coming out over there. No, don't touch me. No, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Oh, some people got touched.
Was it a bad touch or a good touch?
No, it was a bad touch.
Very bad. Ooh, fiery beams touch. All right, so you're playing the 14s. What are you doing right now?
Right now I'm just doing a leveling roulette, and I am in the Gimlet Dark, which is one of the last dungeons in the post-Stormblood patch. So level 70 content. Right now I'm working on leveling up my Bard because. Nope, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. Don't touch me.
Oh, that's a big zone. Get in the pocket.
Because right now, of all the classes that I have unlocked, just my Bard and Dancer are not fully leveled. So before I pick up a new class, I'm going to rectify that.
Seems fair. We're having fun. There was that technically this week? I think it was this week. There was a new letter from the producer.
Yeah, got some information going on about what will be coming in 6.3, which will be, I believe, this December? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, it'll be the next couple of months.
Oh!
I'm not sure exactly when. But there's new fun stuff coming.
Oh, regrets I had.
Org. Everybody's dead, Dave.
Everyone's dead, Dave, except the tank.
Well,
and the tank's
that's
just
kind of his job. Unfortunately, I don't know if he can go it alone. Tanks usually want and need healers and DPS to do the damage.
I don't know, unless you're Loth being a warrior. Has Loth ever told you about that time? The time he took on the final boss of a dungeon by himself as a warrior? It took him like 20 minutes, but he did it by him fucking self.
No, I don't think that story come up, but I don't disbelieve it. When you were sick the one week and I still streamed 14, Loth, was there to carry us all the way. Literally carry me in some cases as I had to jog up and down a jungle. There's a lot of jogging back and forth still. It's a lot easier when you've got your Sky Taxi service.
Oh yeah, no, he was playing Warrior, and Warrior does have some pretty good self-healing abilities, which is entirely the reason why he was able to do it.
Yeah, I do like how everybody, even if classes have the same roles and same zones, we've got a lot of fun differences there. Like I'm only just starting to get into the. It's very funny, but looking at like did reorganize my hotbars like I talked about, and it's funny looking ahead, and I'm just like, man, wow, there's a lot of shit I still haven't even begun to learn to do as a Dragoon. Like, I'm still mostly doing the shit they gave me as Lancer, basically, for my rotations. But there's a lot of stuff you can branch out on in the various combos which chain together and give you stuff and things and jumps, lots of jumps.
Big jumps. Big ups.
But yeah, so, hey, if you want more 14 stuff, we stream that on Wednesdays. You can find this week's... Oh, also, actually, I don't think I even mentioned that on the stream. I should have. I put all the 14 vids, at least the solo streams. I may one day go back and grab all the What's Ups that are also 14, but for now, it's a 14 playlist, starting at the beginning, Character Creation Savage, going all the way till right now. So check that one out also if you need to catch up, because some of those videos are fairly popular.
Don't toast me. Don't toast me.
Are you gonna get toasty?
Don't toast me, bro. Toaster, no toasting.
That's what this guy is. He is just a giant toaster.
He is a giant toaster.
It's kind of funny because our microwave recently exploded a little bit, so we had to get a new one. And get a temporary one before the new one.
How does the microwave explode a little bit?
You know, just some mild sparks coming out of the top. Very minor. But it's super dead now, so.
It's dead, Dave.
It is. It's quaint. But okay. So we have lots of different things we can hit up. Where should we start? Because obviously, there's quite a lot of big news stories that are relevant to us and everyone going on right now.
All right.
One of which is the Video Game Awards announced all their nominees.
Wait, where's it? Where's it? Where's it? No, not again. Ha ha! Yeah, fuck you. Get poisoned.
So, we can talk about the VGAs. Obviously, like I said, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out today. I did get my copy day of.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Slamazon.
Slamazon.
Throwing it out in the middle of my porch. It's not important or anything. But yes, I have put a couple hours into that, and still have not left the starting area. In a good way. But there's plenty of other weird things we can talk about as well. Chat, what do you want us to talk about first, huh? Do you have an opinion, chat? There's like 10 of you in here.
You underestimate me.
Time I will roll my neck bones and
Oh, wait, get back here.
watch Lucky approach another man. He's fleeing. I got one on VGA. I do have the list of nominees pulled up so we can cross-reference.
Out of my way.
Chad is not necessarily rushing to speak any of that.
Well, then you should just go with the suggestions that we have.
All right.
People don't want to.
So how do you want to do this, Lucky? Should we start at the top with the big one, or should we start at the bottom and go up, go in reverse order?
We can go in reverse order.
Okay. In that case, we're going to skip all the esports stuff at the bottom, like we always do, because we don't know anything about that.
Really
So, most anticipated game, then, is our first one to talk about. It's a pretty easy one, basically. Recognizing an announced game that is... So, the title of this is Recognizing an Announced Game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push forward the gaming medium.
We're using buzzwords again, and I don't like it.
Yeah, especially considering the 5 games we've got on this list. It really is just games that people want to buy the most. And your nominees this year are Final Fantasy XVI, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4, Starfield, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I do believe that all of these are anticipated games. The Hogwarts thing's still a little controversial, you know, but Avalanche Software and WB Games are still very big, so it makes sense at least that there's still some buzz there. That game did get pushed to next year, so... Same with Starfield. That was originally supposed to come out last week, and then they realized they would be going toe-to-toe with God of War Ragnarok, and we're probably like, oh, there's no fucking way Starfield's going to be as finished as God of War Ragnarok when it comes out. But yeah, no, this is a big one. Honestly, for me, it's a tough choice between 16 and Tears of the Kingdom.
Well, I think that's probably what's going to be on a lot of people's competitiveness, because while I think people are hyped for Starfield, they're not hyped in the same way.
Starfield hype is very weird. Like,
I think Starfield hype is people want another Bethesda game that they can rip apart and shove all the mods they want into it, so they can have the game they want.
And also, like, generally when I see people, like, when Starfield briefly trends, it's usually like, oh, they released some sick concept art, look how cool this game looks, and I'm like, this game should be in, like, post-production. Why do we just get concept art? Like, everything I hear about the hype for Starfield makes me go, collar pull. I'm kind of glad that I've got, you know, even more years to buy a PC that can run Starfield. And RE4, like,
I was about to say, why is this Colossus following me?
Oh.
We're okay now. We're okay now.
Yeah, a little scary.
It's like, tank! Tank!
But RE4, I think, is definitely anticipated. Like, that is a huge announcement. That's going to be a lot of fun. Is it going to demonstrably push the gaming media forward to do another Resident Evil remake? I don't know. It could.
It could. Like, I'm not going to count out Resident Evil 4 because,
no,
like I
as
said,
usual,
Resident Evil 4 was the game that changed a lot of the action game genre by pushing the over-the-shoulder camera to a mainstream audience.
Yeah.
And the story up for it was very good. Now, if they're going over and, going to try and retell that story, that could be something that's pretty good, especially with, how Resident Evil 7 and 8 and Village went.
Yeah. And obviously also the touches they've already done on the remakes for 2 and 3, are already kind of like reestablishing Leon as a character. Oh, actually, I just realized I think chat is the chat window is incorrect and nobody said anything about it.
Oh, they are right. That's weird. I thought I
We'll double check. Sometimes it doesn't change for me.
Oh, I see
either.
what I did wrong. Hang on.
Copying the links for the pop-out chat is sometimes a little bit of a swaggle.
I copied it, but I never actually put it.
Oh, did it hit like apply or okay?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, there you go. And what I was going to say earlier was, in general, as usual, I know some people fight about this a little bit. I think that it is one of those, like, it's an honor to be nominated situations. The jury, the panelists who are polled to pick the nominees is huge. And while there is somewhat of a, like, West Coast bent, at least for the, like, United States outlets, there's also a lot of outlets. Like, I don't know about previous years. I don't think I double-checked too thoroughly, or if I did, I don't remember. But, like, this year, like, almost every country that is picked, like, is participating in the jury has, like, 2 or 3 outlets. Like, yes, America, we have a lot of video game studios over here. We got a lot of coverage over here. There's, like, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of 4. So Sorry, had to sneeze. 6x4. And it's the kind of outlets you'd expect. Like, it's not just chump outlets. It's shit like, you know, Ars Technica, obviously Game Informer, Games Radar, Giant Bomb, stuff like that, GameSpot, IGN, you know, Polygon, but also like LA Times, you know, Vice. No, Kotaku is not on this list.
That's probably good.
Yeah. Kotaku knows what their problem is. But there's like quite a few, you know, UK outlets. And then global-wise, they have loads. Like, there's multiple from Australia. There's quite a lot of South American ones. There's like 9 outlets from Brazil that are pulled for this. You know? They've got, you know, Canada, China. The only thing that sometimes I note is that, like, I do kind of feel like I don't... Out of non-like America outlets, Japan has a lot, and it's, you know, got a lot of big ones. Famitsu, Dengeki, stuff like that. Game Watch, and some other ones. I do still kind of feel like it's a little bit of a small slice, considering that, you know, I think like half the games on these lists come out of Japan. Like, for instance, out of most anticipated, 3 out of the 5 nominees are Japanese-made games. So sometimes I do still feel like that's a little bit of a small slice, but it is still a very diverse polling, and something I'm going to bring up because I think we've questioned it this year. It's actually pretty interesting. One of the outlets who does do this is Kind of Funny. You may have heard me talk about them before. I'm subbed to them on YouTube and watch some of their shows regularly for like news and stuff.
What's Steve doing?
They're former IGN employees and stuff, so they're in the industry, and they hosted a reaction stream to the nominees getting announced, and they were pretty transparent about their role in it. They straight up don't get polled on categories they don't have any input on. They don't comment on esports or anything. They don't get polled on the nominees for esports categories. So it's not like a clown shoes thing where people who don't know anything about these games aren't getting polled. Like, I suspect that, like, for RPGs, for instance, they are talking to outlets and they're like, hey, you got some RPG guys who can weigh in on this, and people weigh in, you know? Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of effort. That said, they were also able to track down a stat that says that the final results are weighted 90% to the jury votes and 10% to the popular vote. I think we've always, I don't even want to say assumed, known that it is weighted more towards the jury votes, and I kind of agree with the sentiment. The internet is weird.
Yeah.
Like, if it was 100% of the popular vote, I don't know how much of a reflection of, like, the honest opinion of the general industry that would be, because there's a lot of angry people on the internet with weird opinions. Mm-hmm. But 90-10 is a pretty big split, so keep that in mind when the results roll around. This is very much an industry awards show. It's just that some of the categories, and I think, like, if it's close between the jury, it really will come down to what is more popular with people. Mm-hmm. But they have a wide input.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anticipated games, there's a lot of fun stuff going on here, and it's interesting to see certain things picked over not other things. For me personally, like, I voted for 16. That is probably the one for me. Like, I'm gonna be real with y'all. This will come back with Pokemon as well. It's not entirely an issue with the Switch, but I also feel like every single good game that has come out on the Switch this year has come with the caveat of, yeah, the game's pretty good, but there's some, like, hardware weirdness because of the Switch. I didn't even remember, was that on stream? I asked you about Harvestella. I think it was like Monday or something.
Yeah.
Because you've been playing Harvestella, and you said, the game's pretty good, but you really feel the Switch hardware. So, like, I think Tears of the Kingdom is going to be cool, but at the same time, I'm like, I do want to definitely hear some reviews first and, like, make sure they haven't managed to, like, you know, melt switches or something trying to run this game, you know?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm probably still going to get it, like, you know, day one, but...
Yeah.
Like I said, as someone who, you know, I love them Final Fantasies. Oh, I was doing my 7080 games, not my fucking...
Yeah.
Now I'm doing my leveling roulette.
They really need the Switch Pro.
They really do. Like,
I don't know why they haven't
the
gone
thing
for
that kills me about the Switch is that the base function is so under-designed. It literally is.
I mean, it's literally made with obsolete chips. Like, not just are the chips like low energy, they are literally obsolete. Nintendo has to contract Nvidia specially to make Switch chips because Nvidia is otherwise not producing their chips. That's how outdated they are. And I'm like, okay, guys, I get it. The Switch is very affordable. For like the first time in my life, I have a Nintendo Switch and a PS5. Damn, though, I wouldn't mind, literally, I'm asking them to release a new product so I could buy it again, so I can get more juice out of it, Like, that's the situation I'm at here, Nintendo. Please, give me some more juice.
No, like, I haven't voted on anything yet because I've been bleh all over the place.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick, I'd probably pick 16 as well.
Yeah. It's just, there's so much surrounding it, and, like, especially since I have now started my own journey on the 14 train, and I'm like, it's the same, the same team. I'm like, yeah, I'm here for this. I'm down for this. I want to see what these guys do with a single player experience. Like, I'm ready for it. Next up, going in reverse order, we have a very interesting category. This category is new this year, but I think it is a good one. Best Adaptation. Recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. Our nominees this year are Arcane, adapting League of Legends, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, The Cuphead Show, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and the Uncharted movie by Sony. So, obviously, I picked Cyberpunk for this. I still haven't seen Arcane. I know a lot of people have said it. I probably need to watch it at some point before the show goes live. I am reasonably certain this is going to be, like, it's going to come down to brass tacks versus Arcane and Cyberpunk. Like, no offense meant to any of those other sources. People genuinely like Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I've heard that the Uncharted movie is a pretty alright movie. It's not necessarily the most faithful and authentic adaptation of Uncharted, It's kind of doing its own mishmash thing. But they're trying. But, like, Arcane and Edgerunners are really good. People say that, like, Arcane might be their best TV show of the year. There are people who say Cyberpunk Edgerunners might be my favorite anime of all time now, Like, not only are these good adaptations, they're really good pieces of media that people are saying, this might be the best thing I've seen all year, period. In general, I think I'm going to be pulling for Cyberpunk, and I'm probably going to be a little annoyed when Arcane wins. I'm a little concerned that even if as anime obviously gets more and more mainstream, that, like, there's still going to be enough people in the, like, the jury panelists, around the world and in the popular vote as well, who are just going to be like, anime. We'll see. Cuphead is kind of the dark horse. I don't know much about it, but I think it's all right. I don't know if anybody's been saying it's, like, the best cartoon of the year or anything, though. I don't know. We'll see. But my main concern is, like, I feel like this is Cyberpunk's one chance to get their flowers this year is Edgerunners, and much deserved for Edgerunners. But spoiler for future categories, in, like, best community and best ongoing, Cyberpunk didn't get nominated, even though they have had a record-breaking update year, not just because of Edgerunners, but also because the updates, 1.5 and 1.6 that have come out this year before Edgerunners actually dropped have actually done, like, a whole lot to make the game better and more palatable to a wider audience. And I'm like, man, you guys, the industry is still really mad at Cyberpunk, huh? I guess we got the best RPG nominee the other year, so I'll take what I can get. But it still bothers me that, like, it's always the same 4 games in best ongoing and best community. Not that they don't deserve it, but we'll get there.
Well, my problem with Arcane, it has to deal with League of Legends. And while League of Legends might have, rich lore and history, it's something that's not necessarily presented well in League of Legends itself.
Yeah.
And so most of my experiences with League of Legends has been with gameplay and the community, and which I'm going to tell you right now, I did not have a good time with.
Yeah, I think a lot of people know that the League of Legends community sucks. Riot is not the best company. Now, admittedly, they have some steep competition in shittiest fucking companies. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it goes either way, but just on the pure quality of the work, I think that, like, it will be between one of those. I mean, I guess if Sonic the Hedgehog 2 wins, like, we can all be like, well, hey, good for them. I guess they pulled it out.
Yeah, I'm not going to be upset. I'm just be like, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I'll be like, okay, well, hey, damn, well, it be how it be, you know? Like, as we go through, there are probably going to be a couple of choices on this list where I'm like, if that game wins, I'm going to be a little nettled. And not as bad as Last of Us Part 2 winning Game of the Year, which I think thoroughly nettled a lot of the general audience for several reasons. But, like, this one's not going to be that. Like, even if Uncharted wins, I'm just going to be like, wow, damn. I guess Sony paid them a lot of money or something. I don't fucking know. Whatever. But yeah, best adaptation. Very interesting. Very good to see that. All right. Now we have a pretty interesting one. Best debut indie. Best debut game created by a new independent studio. Your nominees this year are Neon White by Angel Matrix, published by Annapurna. Norco by Geography of Robots. Stray by Blue 12 Studio, and also published by Annapurna. Tunic by Tunic Team. And Vampire Survivors by Ponkel. I mean, obviously, I voted Stray.
I would vote Stray too. I hear a lot of people talking about Vampire Survivors, and I honestly don't get the appeal of the game. I really don't.
It definitely, like, settled in as, like, a really interesting indie title that people liked. It's from very late last year, technically. A lot of gamers like the game. I think the reason why, spoilers again, this is its only nominee. I think that in general, because it is such a small, like, you know, grassroots wave game, it's not necessarily appealing to a lot of people. Some people don't even know about it. I know lots of, like, streamers like it, but I personally never got around to, like, trying it.
Well, from what I understand, I feel like it's more like a fucking a clicker game.
Yeah, I know it's got a lot of clones, but it's simple, it's small. There are some other really good games here, though. Obviously, like Stray, really good game. You know, we both played through it. We streamed some of it. It's a very solid experience. I haven't gotten around to playing Neon White, but I definitely feel like I will at some point, just because it is getting a lot of noms and a lot of praise. And a lot of people do actually really like that game. You know, for being a weird deck building FPS game on the Switch, it's got some pretty solid recs to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what Norco is. I don't think I heard of it before the awards, but I will go look it up. Unfortunately for them, they are not anywhere near the first result if you just search Norco. Point-and-click adventure game, released for Mac and Microsoft Windows. Oh, it's based in the city of Norco, Louisiana. Okay. Okay, that could be cute. Got nominated the Golden Joystick for Best Storytelling. All right. Interesting. Got some pretty high scores. So it's a point-and-click game. That seems like a good pick for, you know, Best Debut Indie. Seems to fit. Alrighty. This next category I will at least briefly mention is Content Creator of the Year. There's a lot of people who I've barely heard of here.
Hey,
yes, I do actually know who Ludwig is.
I mean, Nibellion is on there, which made me kick.
Yeah. Yes. I'm almost assured that is because Nibel has announced he is retiring, but he still has been, like, a really long-standing voice in the community for just, like, giving you up-to-date video game news, no muss, no fuss on Twitter. I really hope he wins.
Oh, same.
Like,
I
for
find it
sure,
hilarious. Even though he's retired, because his account seems just occasionally, it'll be like, Nibel follows this person, he'll give me a video game news story. I was all like, even when you're not here, you're still working.
Yeah, like, it's a pretty interesting tale. That's why I want to at least mention the category. Usually we skim over this a little bit, but the Nibellion nominee it's really cool that he's been nominated. I do hope he gets the win just for the memes, and because the man's retiring, he deserves a little something.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to go on to, you know, better and brighter futures. So we got Best Multiplayer for Outstanding Online Multiplayer Gameplay and Design, including co-op, massively multiplayer experiences, and massive multiplayer experiences, irregardless of game genre or platform. So your nominees are Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Multiversus, Overwatch 2, Splatoon 3, TMNT, Shredder's Revenge. This is a weird category.
I don't understand how Overwatch 2 got in there.
I don't know either. I mean, I kind of do, from the way I understand from, like, jury, like, content creators and people in the industry like the game. Like, they are actually, like, doing things. It's just, you know, when you're just a random schmuck, was kind of a pain in the ass to get in there. I'm sure if you, you know, run an outlet and can call Blizzard to help you sort out your account issues, it's probably a lot easier than regular people having to deal with a service with, you know, giving you your fucking authentication codes through a fucking NFT seller or whatever service. I think the core gameplay is probably fine. It's just, you know, there's as usual, a lot of stink surrounding the game. We'll see if that, like I said, we'll see if that turns into them losing the edge in that popular vote for that last, you know, last tenth of the way. Other than that, like, I haven't played any of these games this year. I don't even know what I would prefer. I mean, I guess technically I would prefer if the multiplayer of COD is good, because I may eventually play that game, and I don't mind COD multiplayer. I still haven't gotten to play it. Multiversus has a lot of meme potential, you know? It's very funny. Even the image they use for the cover is Shaggy back-to-back with Batman. Shaggy is holding a Batarang. Batman is holding a sandwich. You know? Like, that's fun. And allegedly Shredder's Revenge is, like, really good. Like, a lot of people it's got several nominees, and a lot of people will be talking about that. Diablo Immortal clearly got a nomination because Blizzard launched an aggressive for your consideration campaign. There's no other fucking way. That or everybody in the gaming industry is whales, but we'll get there. That is another thing where I'm like, I don't even know how this game got fucking nominated. Diablo Immortal is literally a punchline. It is the punchline to a joke. But hey, we're here. Oh yeah, Lucky, do you have any thoughts about best multiplayer? I know you haven't played any of these games either.
No,
so.
I haven't played any of those games either.
Yeah. We'll see what happens then, I guess. Best sports/racing game, always a funny treat to get into. Best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game. I guess the game has to be sports and racing. No, I'm kidding, but the grammar for these is a little bad. You've got F1 22, FIFA 23, NBA 2K23. So basically just, hey, EA, did you make a good sports game this year? Gran Turismo 7, and Ollie Ollie World, which is another, you know, skateboardy type game. I don't really care about any of these as usual, though the art style for Ollie Ollie World looks interesting, and I do believe, didn't Tony Hawk win a year? So maybe we'll see a recurrence of that. But it's yep race, yep sports. Soccer and basketball always the most popular of these games.
Sports ball!
Yeah. All right. And now one of the most demented categories, as always, best sim/strategy game. I heard several of the panelists have complained about some of the categories being a little chunky. I hope that the VGAs will listen on that end, and enough people are complaining. We might get some better categorization next year, because there's a couple in here that are a little skew-iff. Best sim/strategy is one of them. There's no truck simulator or flight sim this year, at least. It's all, you know, most of those kinds of games at the very least. But yeah, I feel like they need to make this like best simulation/grand strategy game. Mm-hmm. But your nominees are Dune Spice Wars, which I did actually hear is pretty interesting. That did come out this year. It's not the MMO that they advertised. It's another thing they've got going on. It's an RTS. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Total War Warhammer 3, 2 Point Campus, and Victoria 3. Recently released by Paradox. It's interesting to see Total War Warhammer 3 and Victoria 3 nominated, because I know those had some rough launches. Victoria 3 is a Paradox game, so naturally it comes out the gate a little undercooked, and, you know, they'll take about a year to fix all the bugs and then start selling you DLC for like $20 a pop.
Yeah, that's how they do.
But everybody who plays a Paradox game hopefully knows that by now. And definitely some of the systems were praised, so I could see that going well. I haven't tried 2 Point Campus. You know, it's like a start your own campus thing. There's an Ambiguous Amphibian video. Mario plus Rabbids got a couple of nominees. I do believe the first game also did. So those games are not necessarily my style. I'm not really here to play Rabbids Mario XCOM, but, you know, good on them for making it anyway, you know?
If people like it, people like it.
Yeah. I did actually see some gameplay footage of Dune Spice Wars. I haven't got a chance to play it myself, but it does seem interesting. It's an RTS, but it seems like it has some, like, longer-term strategic elements as well, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think all of these nominations are probably okay. But also, we're going to see other games that I think are technically strategy games, but are also RPGs nominated in other spots. And I'm like, boy, we really do need to like reorganize some categories here. I technically think Mario plus Rabbids is also might be a tactics RPG. I don't know. Is there leveling? If there's leveling, it's definitely a tactics RPG. But yeah, so it's a good category. I haven't played any of these games myself. Would probably prefer Dune Spice Wars of Victoria 3, but you know, hey, whatever people like, they like. And that takes us to probably the most interesting and the category that is understood the least, Best Family. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. This is usually the Oops All Nintendo category, which it is mostly this year. There's another nominee that's not. But yeah, like I said, I watched Kind of Funny, who are on the jury panel, react to this. Even they are like, I don't know what the fuck Jeff Keighley means by best family anymore. We really need to, like, reword this. Like, I think the idea is, you know, best game that is appropriate for all ages, right? You know, games with, like, an E or E10 rating, you know, accessible to kids and adults. I guess Best Family is the shortest way they can say that, but it's still a little confusing. Because you can't technically play these games with your family for the most part. They're not necessarily multiplayer games. A couple of them are, but it's a little weird. Your nominees, though, are Kirby and the Forgotten Land, LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Nintendo Switch Sports, and Splatoon 3. So as you can see, it is mostly the Oops All Nintendo. Mario plus Rabbids is licensed by Nintendo. That's produced by Ubisoft. And obviously, the LEGO Star Wars game is by studio attached to WB Games. This is an interesting category. I suspect Kirby's going to win here, because Kirby did not get a lot of nominations, and some people are a little nettled about that. I'll talk about some of the ways people are nettled as we get to later games where people think Kirby might be snubbed. But this is a decent selection. I don't know how good Nintendo Switch Sports is, but Wii Sports was friggin' iconic, and you can actually play this game with your family, literally. But there's a lot of interesting noms here. As usual, Nintendo scoops up a lot of them, but there's still some in there. Lucky you didn't play Kirby,
No,
did you?
I did not.
Okay, just wondering. Well, it was good enough it got nominated. No, that's a huge thing, but also Nintendo's released, like, you know, 20 games this year. I don't know why they would need to push specifically Switch Sports. But yeah, we got a wide variety here. It's an interesting one. Best fighting game. Now, this is another funny one. So, your nominees for games designed primarily around head-to-head combat. DNF Duel, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, also Battle R, King of Fighters 15, Multiversus, and Sifu. Sifu is not what we would call a traditional fighting game. It is a martial arts game. It is a game with a lot of fighting in it. It is not a fighting game. I don't think it has, you know, multiplayer in that way. However, not a lot of fighting games came out this year. At least that are, like, you know, new opportunities. Technically, you know, All-Star Battle R is a re-release, but also that game was, like, last gen. It was several years ago, so, you know. There's definitely some missed opportunities here. But, yeah, this is another weird category. I think Sifu was just... people didn't have a fifth nominee, and so they were like, some people were like, we'll put Sifu in there. That's a martial arts game. That counts.
I think it is a game where you might actually have to do fucking control commands, too.
Yes, I do believe it is a game that has, you know, in-depth fighting controls, but it's still not... This is another one of those weird things, right? Like, best fighting game is a really weird category. To fighting gamers, fighting game players, you know, the FGC, their picks are probably King of Fighters, maybe DNF Duel. Like, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is cool. It's a really good JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game. It's not necessarily thought of as a very great fighting game because it's got a lot of, like, fan service and goofs and stuff in it, you know? It doesn't have that serious technical play. Multiverses is I think similar in that regard. But like I feel like there is a divide in the general audience between, you know, fan service or like, I don't want to say comedy, but like, you know, party fighting games, you know, the kind of stuff you can just casually do with your friends because you could be like, yo, let's have Shaggy and Batman fight, you know, shit like that. And then there's, you know, real-ass fighting games, DNF Duelist by Arc System, you know, SNK is always making King of Fighters 15. It's an interesting category. I think they just had a problem where they didn't have enough good nominees this year, so it got a little weird. This is going to be the problem when you have fixed categories based on genres, and then what if 5 good fighting games don't come out this year, you know?
Just oops.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I don't really have any strong opinions on this. I think it would be funny for the internet for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to win.
I'm definitely going with DNF Duel, though.
Yeah, I've heard good things. And now we get to another big category. Best role-playing. Not even best role-playing game. Best role-playing. For the best game designed with rich player-customer characterization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. Don't know why they said there's no MMOs on it this year, but role-playing for what they're saying is character customization and progression. That is what we were looking for in role-playing. I think all of these games count. Your nominees are Elden Ring, Live Alive, Live Alive, however you want to say it.
I always pronounce it Live Alive.
Live Alive, yeah. I've heard it like all 3 ways, but Live Alive. Pokemon Legends Arceus, Triangle Strategy, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So this is a very stacked category. I think a lot of people are thinking Elden Ring is going to win. And I want to say, based purely on what their criteria for this category are, Elden Ring is really up there. I've played some Triangle Strategy. You know, it's got some elements of progression and customization, but it's not super in-depth. Pokemon games have different levels of customizing depending on, you know, how robust the movesets are. I don't know how good Arceus is in that level. Arceus. Haven't played, you know, Live Alive either. But, like, in terms of progression and customization, FromSoft's Soulsborne games are notoriously really good at that. And I believe, like, Elden Ring still has some of the most diverse builds they've ever allowed in a game. Like, you have the most valid setups you can do. So it probably is a really good nominee, but, like, other than obviously, hey, FromSoft made an RPG this year, Square Enix and Nintendo eating good this year. So, very solid lineup. I think I would probably out of these pick Triangle Strategy. That's the only game on the list I've actually played, and I do like it. Need to get back to it sometime, but I think these are all decent picks.
Only game I've played, well, unfortunately, is Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I had to stop that because I did realize eventually that this is a 3rd game in a series.
And you're missing some stuff?
And I'm missing some stuff.
Okay.
You see, I only started because people were like, oh, you won't miss much. But then, like, because I got my copy of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I lined them all up, and I was like, yes. And then I looked at the covers, and I was like, wait a fucking minute.
Hold on.
Hang on here. I'm seeing something here.
Yeah. But yeah, I think all of these are really good picks. Shout out to Live Alive, that, like, for a remaster of a game that never came out outside of Japan, solid on them for getting nominated.
Yeah.
Like, pretty cool. A lot of people are probably saying Elden Ring is going to win out here. I don't know for sure, though. The Game Awards does sometimes do this, the Video Game Awards, where, remember, we're working in reverse order. Elden Ring is nominated for quite a lot of things further up the list. So it may be that it wins a lot of awards earlier, and thus wins less awards down the line. And actually, you know, 2 of these games are nominated for Game of the Year, so it's entirely possible that one of them could win, and then the other one wins here, you know, gets its druthers here. So we'll see how that actually shakes out. Remember that only about 10% of the actual final result is weighted towards popular polls. So, again, I actually kind of appreciate that. If it was just popular poll, Elden Ring would win literally everything, and it would be really boring. Here, at least, there's some different stuff. So let's get into another one that is I think this one is also sometimes a little, open-ended, but I do believe that all of the nominees in this category do very clearly fit within our criteria here. Best action/adventure. For the best action-adventure game, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. Your nominees are A Plague's Tale Requiem, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, Tunic. Banger category. Very solid all around. And honestly, from what I understand of these games, all of them do involve those things. I know some people were cracking jokes at Stray and being like, combat in Stray? There are technically some, I would call them combat puzzles. You are at risk at times,
Oh yeah, no, there is there is what's the word? There is the threat of failure.
Yeah, there is conflict, where you have to proactively push buttons to not die. But all in all, really, really big one. Obviously, Sony getting a lot of rep here. But still pretty solid. I think all of these are really good. It's a tough pick. So we've been playing Plague Tale Requiem on stream. I will definitely say it has all those things.
Yeah.
There is traversing, there is fighting, there is puzzle solving. Horizon Forbidden West also has all of those things. Personally, I found some of the systems, still a little annoying and toughed out, but it's still also a very solid game. And I haven't gotten to play God of War Ragnarok yet, but I have seen its Metacritic score, and I liked the first one, so I think I know what I'm in for. So they're all pretty good options to pick. And obviously Stray and Tunic are still on here, and I think they can take it away. A lot of people really like Tunic. The furry Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
So, this category feels open-ended to me, and I think all of the nominees are good. This is another one where I'm like, I'm not going to be mad no matter who wins. You've at least physically played 4 of the games on this list, so...
Well, I did. I was able to beat Ragnarok, and I think it has a pretty good chance of winning this category.
Yeah. I have heard some people muttering and grumbling about how, at least in the current version, I don't know if it'll still be that way when I get to play it in like a couple of weeks, probably at this rate. Plague Tale's really weird, guys. I'm not actually sure where the story beats are anymore. I have no idea if we're really close to finishing that game or there's like half the game left.
I think we're like halfway through. I think.
I think we've hit the Act 2 hump, but I really can't tell. But I have heard some people complaining that the puzzle segments are really hand-holdy in Ragnarok. Regardless of what you set the accessibility features to, your fellow NPCs, like Atreus and some other people following around, will usually yell about the solution really fast.
Yeah. Well, that just means you got to be faster than them in figuring it out.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess if some people are like, whoa, hold on, I want to stop and consider the puzzle, I'm like, okay, sure. But also, do you really want to stop and consider the puzzle?
Like, I'm going to
like,
be real.
Like, if you really like puzzles.
Like, usually it was by, like, I don't know about other people, but it was usually, I almost never had that problem because I usually figured out the problem, figured it out really quick. Hey, guys, I'm going to tell you real quick, the game really wanted to use sigil arrows for everything. I don't know why, but they do. Like, 4 out of 5 puzzles in Ragnarok require using fucking sigil arrows. I'm just like, this is weird.
But here we are.
But here we are.
Yeah.
So usually, no, I'd solve the puzzle before they actually say anything to me. So, if you're having the problem of their talking to you too much, get good.
Sounds about right. All right, so let's scooch on. Best action game. For the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat. So if you're an action game and you're about cooking, you don't count. Again, the phrasing in some of these titles is a little weird. So, our nominees are Bayonetta 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Neon White, Sifu, and Team NT Shredder's Revenge. In general, I think all of these are apparently pretty good games that are about combat. I suspect with like the vibes I'm getting, it's probably going to be Bayo 3 or Neon White. But there's a lot of good titles out here. Haven't played any of these games myself, but you know, there's some interesting selections. Well, here's the problem, YZ Anime. COD is a game that is an action game about combat. It's a first-person shooter. It's not the most arcadey first-person shooter, but it is a game where its only mechanic is shoot people in the face. That's combat. There is no dedicated FPS category. Similar to fighting, I don't know if they could pull that off. So this year, there are a lot of action games that are more classic beat-em-up type actions. Neon White, though, is also a first-person shooter, so, you know, that counts. So, yeah, no, like, shooter games go in this area, and I really can't fight them on not doing that split, because how do you guarantee there will be 4 or 5 good shooters and good beat-em-ups, you know?
I bet they actually look at all the good games they have this year and which did well and actually build their categories around that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't start calculating game releases like before they start polling the nominees and like adjust them, because they do, as evidenced by the new category Best Adaptation, they do actually futz around with the categories off and on every year. Like Lucky and I and even the rest of the community have talked about how best role playing is a little bit of a weird category. At the very least, I think they define it pretty well by not calling it, you know, best role-playing game, but best role-playing, you know, which game lets you customize and progress yourself. Well, again, like I said, Neon White is a first-person shooter, unless I'm really forgetting that game's trailers, but I don't think so.
Well, it's a first-person shooter, but your shooting is dealing with cards and stuff, and your cards let you do other things.
Yeah, and it's got some like visual novel segments, but still, it's you know, it's a fast-paced action game that involves like the first-person perspective. I don't see why we would kick Call of Duty out. The reason why there may not be any other shooters on there is, guess what? I don't think there are any other good FPS games this year.
Didn't Halo Infinite come out this year? Or was that last year?
I think that was last year. I believe Halo Infinite got nominated last year. I think Halo Infinite single player came out this year, but again, the campaign is kind of eh. Also, I really don't know how the Video Game Awards handles that.
Did the tank use their fucking...
Oh, tank doing things. Did they
Sorry.
steal the limit break?
Yes.
I'm just looking there and I see that the bars are very empty. Yes, sorry about the Legendary. We didn't make a lot of a fuss about it, but I explained it earlier. There's literally no FGO news until tomorrow, so it will be really dumb to do the show today. So we decided to do What's Up instead and yell about stuff. Currently, we're yelling about the Video Game Awards.
Oh, I don't have either.
But yeah, like, I don't know if there have actually been, like, really solid, you know, widely known and applicable shooter games that have come out this year. Like, it's... I can see arguments both for and not for splitting categories. Because, again, like, okay, so Bayonetta 3, Sifu and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, those are beat-em-up games. Those are action-ass games. You smash buttons, kick the shit out of people. All right. What are your other 2 games, then, if it's just best, if it's, like, best beat-em-up? What are our other 2 picks this year that are not also other genres, you know? It gets a little weird. And then, again, does that mean you only have 2 nominees in the shooter category, or do you have to make up a couple ones? It's kind of an interesting back and forth. I guess they would kind of like hope that they like... I get why they don't want to, but I feel like maybe the Video Game Awards should actually like adjust up and down the number of nominee slots. Like, again, if there's no 5th best fighting game this year, only have 4 nominees, guys. You know? It's not quite the same as movies where no matter what happens, there'll be enough fucking movies that come out, you can fill the slot. Video games are... They are trendy. They're often very fad, you know, oriented. A lot of them have really long tails, so you'll get like fads from 5 years ago finally coming out, right? Like obviously there's been a lot of push for sci-fi horror lately, which isn't going to materialize until next year. Actually, hold on. Is there a best horror category?
I do not believe so, no.
I don't think there is a best horror category this year. And they might want to do that, you know, best horror / suspense next year. Because there's going to be RE4, there's going to be Dead Space, there's going to be Callisto Protocol. Like, there's 3 games right there. I bet you could scare up 2 more horror games. When does the Silent Hill 2 remake master come out? Is that next year? That's a category right there. That's a competitive category, if I may, even. But yeah, so... That's also another thing. You're not going to see any of those farming games that came out this year because there's no category for that, even though I think there should be. But that would probably be best sim. But because it's sim/strategy, there's a lot of really good strategy games to get out there. Like I said, I think that should be best simulation / grand strategy. And then they should figure out like RPGs and life sims in a different spot. But where were we? Best action. So let's go to best VR AR. We don't have a lot to input on this because we don't have VR headsets because they're expensive.
They are.
But there are some interesting ones to talk about. You've got After the Fall by Vertigo Games. Don't know anything about that. Among Us VR. Glad to see that Inner Sloth is still winning. They literally cried on stream when they won a couple game awards for a regular Among Us. So shout out to them, still winning. Bone Lab, Moss Book 2, and Red Matter 2. I have heard of Bone Lab. It's like almost like a dev kit type thing. It's really interesting. So it might win because the industry might like it. I don't know a lot about these other games other than Among Us VR being Among Us VR, and Among Us.
Among Us.
All right, so next we've got innovation in accessibility, recognizing software and/or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. So your nominees this year are As Dusk Falls, which is an Xbox game, so that's why Lucky and I probably haven't heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I wasn't interested in it really at all.
God of War Ragnarok, Return to Monkey Island, Last of Us Part 1, also, by the way, showing that the Game Awards have learned their lesson. This is Last of Us Part 1's only nomination. Again, probably the only category it's really innovative in. And The Quarry. And I do actually think The Quarry does have some... People have complaints about how that game is like, the story is structured and stuff. It does actually apparently have some interesting, quote-unquote, accessibility options. You basically can skip all the QuickTime events and the in-game choices and pick all your choices ahead of time and then let the game just play out.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Which is actually, I think, interesting in getting these games to a wider audience, I've heard that God of War Ragnarok, like a lot of Sony first-party games, has a lot of different accessibility customizations for, timing, difficulty, color options, highlighting, etc. You can adjust the subtitle text size a lot, I think. So, and Last of Us Part 1 also similarly has a lot of that shit that Last of Us Part 2 did as well. So this is an interesting category. We'll see what wins. I'm going to guess it's probably going to be one of the two Sony ones.
Probably.
But this is a decent category, It's not just asking about easy mode in Dark Souls, but, we got a lot of different options. And it's a very clearly defined category. All right. And next is what makes me annoyed because... again, Cyberpunk is not on here. They had 2 very good patches and game updates this year that were very big and lots of other stuff. And our nominees are, literally, as always, it's exactly these same 5 games every year. Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, No Man's Sky. I voted for 14. It's got a very robust community support, really good patches. That does well. I'm getting a little tired of seeing these 5 games every year. How many times does No Man's Sky need to win this award? Yes, I know. They have crazy patches every year, but, God, guys. I don't know. It's just, it's a weird category.
I don't understand why Fortnite's in there. I really don't.
Because, I guess Fortnite does have the updates. They always do these weird meme updates where you can play Naruto with a gun and make him fight Thanos and Superman and whatever, right? It has the crazy game updates. I also think that unfortunately the real problem here, Epic is in too many of these jury panelists' back pockets. They all have bonus Epic creator codes where they get a cut when you go buy games on their Epic store. I'll be that fucking cynical. Everybody fucking... Well, I don't want to say everybody. Obviously, the game's so popular enough that it isn't exploding. Though, I did actually hear that they are concluding their quote-unquote season a lot faster this time. Which may be a sign of, some rough times in their output. But in general, I feel like the wider gamer TM community does not like Fortnite. And honestly, I don't, it's a battle royale game. It doesn't really appeal to me. You can't even do the thing that was its original gimmick, which was building stuff. And while I find the thing with all of the pop culture characters eminently memeable, it's also, as far as, aesthetics and, sucking you out of the immersion of the game, it's absolute clown car levels. Fortnite, I feel like, is a game only for content creators and then the Zoomers who watch. but I guess they get to vote in the Game Awards too, so we'll see. The thing though is, again, the people who are on these panels, these jury nominees, they don't fucking play Fortnite. Are you kidding me? Well, some of them do, but I think most of them play Apex.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. It's like, I know a lot of them play Apex.
Yeah, so you know what? Hey, solid. If people are still playing Apex, that probably means that Apex has good updates. I'll take it. I do believe Destiny 2 did have some good patches and expansions this year. Okay, neat. And again, obviously, like I said, 14 and No Man's Sky probably deserve to be on this list no matter what, because both of those games do have crazy good patches that come out basically for free with big updates for you, right? You know,
Well, yeah,
big content
this is
stuff.
Why like I said, I've talked about this like plenty of times, but this is why like 14 is always going to be my vote on that. Is because it's not just, you know, the patches and whatnot. Like 14 actually has like community events. They set up things. They have live streams.
Oh yeah. How many fucking letters from the producer are we up to? It's 70 something.
Yeah. Like if something like happens in game that goes wrong, Yoshi P will sit down and write everyone a fucking letter about like why shit is happening, and that he's very sorry about it all. You know.
Yeah.
So that's why like I'm never upset to see fucking 14 on there, because 14 does, you know, build a community between the players and developers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't necessarily play a lot of the other games to know if they have that sort of relationship, but I, in my completely cynical ways, find it very unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I played Destiny and Destiny 2, I feel like for parts of it, Bungie has been fairly transparent. They've been, you know, they'll talk about issues if they got them. They'll throw up patches. They'll do balance and stuff, you know. And they do have the good content updates. But a lot of, and like I said, same with No Man's Sky. I have played that game. That game has had several patches over the years that basically like completely overhaul it and add new shit out of nowhere. For free, by the way. I don't know how that studio is still in business, but you know, hey, if you're known for stuff, it works. But yeah, it's always a weird category, and again, I'm personally upset that Cyberpunk is not in that category because I feel like it meets the criteria, and also, again, it's always those 5 games, and it's kind of like, when are we going to break the mold? Are we saying that like no other games have good community support?
Yeah, I was about to say,
Or is
like,
it
I was
just
actually thinking about Warframe the other day. Warframe also has a pretty rad community and community
I do believe
support.
Warframe has gotten a couple of nominations in the past in this category.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I have been a little concerned about that.
But yeah. Let's talk about probably the least cool category, the most likely shield category. Best mobile game. FGO is still not on here. For the best game playable on a mobile device. And once again, it's a very loose category, and it's a very dumb categorization. Your nominees are Apex Legends Mobile, Diablo Immortal, again, literal joke, Genshin Impact, again. This again, why the fuck is FGO not here? This game came out last year.
I'm gonna say this. I don't think Genshin Impact deserves to be on mobile, because it's not.
Nobody plays it on mobile.
No, it makes your phone explode. Everyone plays it on PC or console.
Also, it got nominated and won this award last year. What the fuck? Do mobile games just get a free pass to be ongoing? Again, where the fuck is my FGO? Sony, where's my for your consideration campaign for FGO? It's a first party title now, isn't it? You wholly own Losengle, don't you? I don't know. Anyway, Marvel Snap, and then Tower of Fantasy. Again, don't know why Tower of Fantasy was nominated. Wasn't that game buggy as fuck when it came out? But I guess it had meme action and had some ad buy to throw around. I said that Diablo Immortal was the punchline. Honestly, this whole category feels like a joke, and it always does. Marvel Snap will probably win because they're throwing around a lot of money and sponsorships, to the point where some of the Yu-Gi-Oh, streamers and YouTubers I follow are getting Marvel Snap fucking ad money. So, and in general, some people do seem hyped about the game. It seems fun to play. I haven't tried it, but whatever. Digital card games. I'm a sucker. It's just the fucking look at this. Look at this. For people like us who are like very plugged in, I think, into the mobile game, especially gacha games, but lots of other mobile games community, this is hilarious. I'm honestly kind of surprised Nikkei's not on here, but I bet that it's too horny on main for all those outlets, even though that I know that Nikkei is spending ad buy money.
I mean,
because I'm getting the ads.
A lot of money went into Nikkei's dev. Like, I don't have the audio playing, but they got big OSTs. They have 3 different voice packs at launch.
Yes.
Like I said,
and I did. Actually, I could talk about this right now because it's very short. I have been trying to play Nikkei a little bit, and it's not just me. The game is kind of buggy.
Oh,
I
yeah,
do occasionally get desync issues, or I get kicked out of a battle or a cutscene or something. So it's a little annoying to play sometimes. I did get through the first map, which does end, as you said, with a full blown anime cutscene in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hand drawn. That took money. Somebody had to pay for that. And lots of other things. Like, it is a very high production value game. And it's kind of a shame that people are not really paying attention to that either. But I think Hoyoverse and NetEase have a lot of fucking money. Whoever makes Tower of Fantasy's got a lot of money, I guess. I know Marvel Snap has money.
I don't know why you're saying
So,
good
yeah.
luck, Axe. I've been playing it, like, this is the first day I've played it on an emulator. Otherwise, I'd be playing
well,
it on
I
my
think
phone.
he's saying good luck. Good luck playing it on a phone or tablet. I mean, like I said, my phone runs it fine. It's just like runs it physically fine. It's just kind of unoptimized.
Axe.
A lot of people have been reporting that. Hopefully, they can patch that shit up. But let's move on to a category that is also pretty slick. Best Indie for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside of the traditional publisher system. Your nominees are Cult of the Lamb by Massive Monster, published by Devolver Digital. Neon White by Angel Makers, published by Annapurna. Sifu, published entirely by Slowclap. Stray, published by developed by Blue 12 Studio, published by Annapurna. And Tunic, developed by Tunic Team. So I voted for Cult of the Lamb here. I played Stray, but Stray has some other nomos that I think it might get some pickups for. And for an indie game, Cult of the Lamb is pretty good. There were some bugs, but they've pushed a big bug fix patch, for instance. They added a free seasonal update for Halloween that was really neat, And all in all, it's a pretty well-designed, fun game that I had a lot of fun playing over, as a weekend game for, $25. Very solid choice. I think all of these nominees are, again, pretty good.
I think they're pretty good, but I still think a couple games that I have played out the years got a little bit might have gotten a little
Yeah, there's a couple we'll see in the arguably infamous but famous Games for Impact category. I like the Games for Impact exists. It's usually for like, what weird thought-provoking shit have we put out that maybe has a little bit of the progressivism in it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, all of these games are solid, and I think that's probably why they're all nominated, because they are like above and beyond well put together. They're all, even for indie games, pretty slick, pretty fun, pretty well made and popular. But obviously, part of that popularity, there is a certain amount of lobbying that goes on for the nominees. And even though these guys were made outside of the traditional publisher system, a lot of these games do have the backing of major outlets behind them. Like, if Cult of the Lamb wasn't published by Devolver, they probably wouldn't be on this list, because Devolver has cachet as a publisher,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the nomination process is fully transparent in that it's by the jury. They poll the jury panelists and they rank their votes. That's how they do it. So now how those outlets come at their decision, I don't know. I think it's all down to subjective opinion of whatever they end up submitting. It might be like one guy at, IGN picks their best RPG nominees or whatever, and then, their fighting game guy picks their fighting games. I don't know. Obviously, like I said, I have alluded to the fact that there may be cash money thrown at this problem, either in what we call for your consideration campaigns. That's what the Oscars end up doing a lot, where if you want your movie to get nominations, you send copies of the movie, you send, letters and stuff being like, hey, don't forget about our movie, to the people who vote on the panel. With the way how interconnected the games journalism and games coverage industry is with the actual production industry, I would not be shocked if, like, your guy at Sony gives you a line of like, hey, we really appreciate it if during the VGAs you pushed for that indie game Stray. We backed that one a lot. We invested some cash in them. We really love to see it. Don't forget that, hey, God of War Ragnarok has a lot of noms. It came out about a week before the nominees went live. Some people are nettled about that. I would like to remind those people, again, the nominees are picked by a jury. The jury are all in the industry. The people who voted for God of War Ragnarok in those categories have probably had the game for a couple of weeks already and beat it before it even came out.
Yeah,
let
I'm pretty
alone
sure, like, Jeff
before the
Keighley
nominees
got
got
it,
picked.
like, at the beginning of November, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and cleared his appointment, so you know he played it. Like, I mean, he may have just joked about it, but I also suspect that Jeff Keighley has enough sway in this industry to be like, guys, I got God of War Ragnarok. I need to cancel my meetings.
Ah!
So, like, yeah, no. That is one of those things that, like, you guys should not be upset about that. That makes perfect sense. The people who are nominated in God of War Ragnarok. And again, Sonic Frontiers doesn't have any nominations, and admittedly, it seems like it's kind of a mid-tier game. Got some technical issues, but it's fun. People really like it.
Well,
despite its flaws.
I think people have a problem with Sonic games is they're so used to bad Sonic games that when they get an okay Sonic game, they praise it to high heaven.
Yeah, I think that is another thing. It's the bar is so low after the last couple of releases that people are like, yeah, no, this game's all right. I'm having a lot of fun. This is what I wanted of Sonic, you know?
Yeah.
But the other thing is also, hey, I don't think Sonic Team and Sega play ball very well. I think they released embargo on review copies like a day before the game went live. Several of their games, they literally have not allowed the embargo on reviews to be raised until after the game came out. That was both Forces and Sonic Boom, which Boom is infamously bad, super Christmas rushed. And Forces was also very mid, I believe the general opinion is. So, like, that means that when these outlets are thinking about these games, when they submitted these nominees, they might not even have had their copies of Frontiers to play early, you know? Which means, of course, they can't go for a nomination because they haven't been able to consider it, you know? They can't nominate sight unseen. This is why some games that come out very close to the nomination process are cut off. Like, for instance, even though... it's out now in November. The year's not over. Scarlet and Violet aren't on this list at all. We're not going to see nominations for Callisto Protocol for this year, or Crisis Core Reunion, anything like that. And we may next year see.
Well, yeah, I don't remember when the cutoff is, but it's like sometime.
It's like just after Frontiers and God of War Ragnarok. May even be why Sonic. Actually, I don't think
Frontier made the deadline. I do remember that.
Yeah, I don't think they would have picked their release date just to make the deadline again, because I feel like, from what I've heard, Sega isn't really playing ball in that respect. But they just had the game done and wanted to go. Yeah, it's a shame about the OST, but again, people didn't have it to hear it there. I mean, a lot of this stuff is Sony, and they do have a lot of money to throw around, but it's not just them. There aren't a lot of Xbox studios on this list, but that's because Xbox hasn't been releasing any bangers. This is going to be real with you. There are a lot of Nintendo titles on here, though. And obviously other big publishers. Like, I think there is a certain amount of how much money and how much press you can throw around, but there's definitely, like, some aspects to it. But anyway, best indie, I personally would pick Cult of the Lamb out of this list.
I would have to go
yes,
with
even over
Stray.
Stray. That makes sense. I fully played Cult of the Lamb, and I decided to pick Stray for other stuff. Best ongoing, once again, the Oops Every Game category. God damn it, I just realized. What the fuck?
What?
Sorry. Genshin Impact is in best ongoing. We did fucking... Somebody needs to boycott the Video Game Awards, these fuckers. You can't nominate it for best ongoing and for best mobile game. How... This defeats the purpose. The game was already out.
Well, it is technically well, again, I agree with it shouldn't be in best mobile, as when it was released on multiple platforms.
Yes. Well, categorically, but also it was nominated for best mobile last year and won. It has already won in that category, and it is not like it has been re-released. Their best ongoing exists for games that are with ongoing content that involves the player experience over time. You'll notice that, like, P5 Royal, even though it came out in a shitload of new platforms this year and is very well rated, is not in any of these categories because it's already gotten a chance to win.
Uh-oh.
So
Safe.
It's one of those things where I'm like, oh, we tanking?
No, not tanking. I rezzed in an AoE field, and I was like, oh, my invincibility.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play Tunic, but I've heard a lot of good things. Anyway, the nominees for Best Ongoing, other than Genshin Impact, are Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite. I voted for 14, obviously, because I am personally reaping the benefits of it being an ongoing game. We have done several dungeons, while I have been leveling in that game, and Lucky and Loth have been like, oh, this is way easier. This is way less complex and dumb.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, cool, yeah, neat. Thumbs up. So I have been reaping the benefits of that game as Best Ongoing, so that's my vote easily. Again, this is another very, the term incestuous isn't quite correct, but, this is a very weird category where a lot of the same games get nominated. And now that I'm re-looking at it, I am a little annoyed that Genshin gets a vote like it's a brand new game and it's the Best Ongoing game. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I guess Hoyoverse does have a lot of fucking money. They make a lot of announcements at the Video Game Awards and shit. As much as I wish Jeff Keighley could go completely independent, the Video Game Awards can't rent venues and summon guests if video games don't agree to show up and pay for ad buy and trailers and shit. So fucking whatever. Just as long as it doesn't win. Honestly, as usual, I kind of expect 14 to win because it's got a lot of public backing, but we'll see. Could be Destiny 2. They've had some good releases this year.
I mean, as principle, I will vote for 14, but like I said, we're also in an interesting point of 14's game cycle. We're in between X-Packs.
Well, when did Endwalker actually come out?
Last December.
That would technically be in the category of voting. That would be in the area.
Oh wait.
In that case, it probably definitely deserves that award.
Hang on 1 second.
We got some stuff to do. We got to do some.
Listen, there's a
ATM.
lot of boss fights in later where you just get chained up for some reason, so we can go into a new cutscene. Just check this shit out.
Yeah.
Hang on, everybody!
I mean, it reminds me of something again. Because I've been watching back some 7 remake footage. A remake kind of has that feature where if you stagger an enemy or whatever, but they need to go to their next boss phase, they'll just nah, fam, I'm immune to damage from. Go away. We gotta do the cutscene. Everybody sprint for the corner. Nope.
Nope.
Well, we all got tickled. All right. But our next category, I think a very good and impressive category that we both got some juice in. Games for Impact.
Yeah.
For thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Your nominees are A Memoir Blue, As Dusk Falls, Citizen Sleeper, Endling, Extinction is Forever, Hindsight, and I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. Again, Push be nominated. Good for them.
Yeah, I'm glad they got nominated. But again, this is one of the things I feel as someone who's played both the Citizen Sleeper and I Was a Teenage Exocolonist, I'm a little mad that they weren't actually put into the best, new indie game title because, like I said, I do believe they deserve to be in Games for Impact because they are both games that maybe, lie down on the floor and think about my fucking life.
Yeah. And it feels like all these other games on this list, other than maybe As Dusk Falls, I don't know anything about that. Though, that was also nominated for accessibility options, so I'm not gonna, fight it,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know a lot about Hindsight or A Memoir Blue, but they look like games that go in here. And I don't need to know anything about a game called Extinction is Forever to understand that goes in Games for Impact. I'm like, okay, I understand what this game is about. But yeah, it is kind of interesting how, obviously these games are really thought-provoking, but whether it's, they don't have, the push behind them.
Honestly, I'm willing to almost fucking bet that they didn't make the actual indie game because people have to fucking read in both the games I like.
That might be it, yeah. I mean, you notice there's no best visual novel or anything like that. Oh my god, actually, that's just... I highly doubt Mahoya will be nominated, but if it is nominated, what fucking category would that go in? Best narrative we hope for.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Hopefully Mr. Nasu can win a video game award. That would be pretty baller.
Like I said...
Yo, actually, would they send Albert out to grab that? He's the head of localization.
I don't know.
Nasu is not necessarily against public appearances, but there is a little bit of mystique about him. So I don't know who they would, if it got nominated and won, I don't know who they would summon forth to, collect the award. It'd be funny though.
I'm dumb. I forgot about Ice, and so did a lot of other people.
Ah, now the shoe's on the other foot. People other than the Dragoon got shoved out of the area. But yeah, no, solid category. I haven't had a chance to play Citizen Sleeper yet, but you talked about it very extensively. I know it is a game that is up my alley. I just, as always, am fucking dying in video games. So I haven't gotten to it yet, but it seems pretty good. I hope Teenage Exocolonist or Citizen Sleeper wins. We'll see who does. But again, just a pleasure for these games to be nominated,
Mm-hmm. I do believe I Was a Teenage Ex-Colonist was nominated in some other game awards. I do believe it got some golden joysticks nominations and stuff.
Seems solid.
Yeah.
All right, and now we have Best Performance, awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, emotion, and/or performance capture. And hey, this one's gonna be what you would expect a lot. So, your nominees are Ashley Birch for Horizon Forbidden West, plays Aloy.
Yep.
I'm gonna make an assumption here, but I don't know for sure. But let me Google to be sure. But it's Charlotte McBurney for A Plague's Tale Requiem. I assume that is.
I believe that's Amicia. Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah. Let me see. IMDb. Well, she's known for Plague's Tale, but what role is she known for? IMDb. Yes, it is Amicia in English. And that's basically all she's done, so shout out to her getting fucking nominated for Best Performance. You've got, of course, 2 actually God of War Ragnarok nominations. You've got Christopher Judge once again.
Yep.
Boy. And also then you've got Boy himself, Sonny Suljic. I hope I'm saying his last name right. Atreus' voice and motion capture actor is also nominated this year.
Yeah, no, he does have a lot more voice lines.
Yeah.
This year, but no, I put it in for. I would put it in for Christopher Judge.
Very
personally.
solid.
Yes.
I've been watching back old seasons of Stargate SG-1. It's very good to see him there. He's still pretty solid even then. And our last nominee is Man Engage for Immortality. That is, I think, a smaller game I don't know much about, but I believe people have been saying it's pretty good, so I will not doubt it. Yeah, quite a slobber knocker. I wonder. I voted for Christopher Judge myself. Again, sight unseen. I know he does a good performance. I like him as an actor, He did already win this award for the last God of War, so not that means anything, because, God of War, the first one, won Game of the Year that year. But still, very solid to see all these people from games I like nominated. It's very interesting. Also, they do not technically call out which character it is. Ashley Birch does do a couple of characters in Horizon Forbidden West, funnily enough. So I don't know. They might decide to go for the award ultimately that way because she pulls off multiple roles and does actually differentiate herself.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of good stuff there, and obviously Amicia's actress is also pulling a lot of weight. So I suspect Dad of Boy will take it, but there's definitely some very solid nominations there. We'll see who gets to pull it out. Best audio design is our next one, recognizing best in-game audio and sound design. So not necessarily music, but like sound cues, audio, that kind of stuff. Your nominees are Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, and Horizon Forbidden West. Again, very solid category. You might think COD or Gran Turismo are very weird, but you got to think about those games.
Oh,
a
no,
lot of people have said that COD has very satisfying gun noises.
No, I was about to say no. It's all like when it comes to audio design, and you're not necessarily thinking about music and stuff. How things sound like when you fire a gun or you rev an engine is actually very important.
And I do believe both Gran Turismo and Call of Duty do the high level audio tech shit. Like they will go out and like test fire guns in different areas to like get different sounds and record engines in different environments to be like, okay, this is what your engine sounds like in a concrete tunnel. This is what your engine sounds like, on a Scottish hillside. Like there's a lot of thought put into that. Again, haven't gotten into God of War Ragnarok myself, but the first game had some very satisfying sound design, audio cues for enemies, big hits, shit like that. Horizon Forbidden West does also have a lot going for it. I think they got a lot of interesting technical stuff with like the enemy sounds going on.
Sorry, I'm playing
Hold on,
Nikkei
I have to
here,
tab
and I
over.
went to the fucking service to get a picture of a sky for a kid who was about to have an operation. I was too late!
Rip.
No! Corey!
And honestly, as well, I have been playing Bloodborne again. That game is like 7 years old. That game also has audio design cues. You can understand what enemies are near you and what they're doing by listening. You know, shit like that. And lots of different footsteps down. So I assume that Elden Ring is very much the same. So this is going to be another tight category. I think, again, just sight unseen, I have to go with Horizon Forbidden West personally. Because I don't think I'm going to fight that game on audio design. It has pretty good audio cues for enemies searching for you, different environmental stuff. Weapons all sound very satisfying. But again, I don't know if I'll be upset if any particular game wins this category, you know?
Yeah.
You having actually played Ragnarok, I'm sure you can weigh in on whether that or Forbidden West is a tighter sound design. But
I'm not so sure on the sound design on Ragnarok. Like I said, I don't think anything in it particularly stuck out to me.
yeah, it's just, you know, very good all-around quality.
Mhm.
Well, I'm sure we'll be able to poke at it as we stream. But let's go for Best Score and Music for Outstanding Music, inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. Your nominees this year are Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Metal Hellsinger, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So this is another slobber knocker. Metal Hellsinger obviously has this thing where they actually did a lot of work with, you know, metal bands in the community to develop their soundtrack. It is a rhythm game. It is about the sound. I haven't played, you know, XBC3. I don't know about their soundtrack, but I assume if it's nominated, it's pretty good. But I know that those front three games have really good soundtracks. Playing Plague's Tale, they have very good music cues and, you know, lots of dramatic music at the right moments. Everybody should hopefully know the God of War music beats. They recently did a fucking live stream to listen to the soundtrack with the composer. I did not watch because I don't want any spoilers. But, you know, when that fucking main theme hits, you know it, right? And just the fucking... Again, it's almost criminal how good From's games are, considering how much a pain in the ass they are to play sometimes. I have listened to some tracks from Elden Ring and from other games. Elden Ring, of course, has a beautiful soundtrack. You know, they do that thing that I love so much, and I was so glad that 7 did win the award for that a couple years back, 7 Remake.
Mhm.
Like, they do the thing where they have the beautiful flow between boss phases into whole new, you know, movements of the soundtrack, building,
Oh, yeah.
all that kind of shit. You know, they have recurring leitmotifs for different characters. It's a really good soundtrack, and I haven't even voted on this category. I genuinely don't know which one I prefer, because I haven't had a chance to listen to, like, God of War specifically yet. But I assume that all of the games in this category have really good OSTs, and again, I don't know who will win. So if Lucky doesn't have any thoughts on
Not particularly.
the soundtrack.
The Ragnarok
move on to-
soundtrack is pretty good. There's definitely some moments where the fucking, you know, Kratos' leitmotif paved, and you're just like, whoa. But again, it really doesn't necessarily stick out. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 also has some good tracks, but unfortunately, because it is an RPG, often enough you'll hear you'll hear a lot of the same tracks over and over again.
Yeah. I'm going to guesstimate then probably Elden Ring will win.
I haven't heard anything of Elden Ring, so I couldn't comment left or right on that.
Well, I mean, I could throw you up in the YouTube history. There's been somebody who's been doing some fucking sick synthwave remixes of the soundtrack that are pretty baller. But no, I think the bass line is pretty good. They have a wide variety of instruments and like deep orchestrals. There is a reason why several Soulsborne, you know, music tracks are memes. If you've ever heard that like one woman wail thing, like that's, you know, Great Wolf Sif from Dark Souls 1. Like they literally make iconic music, so we'll see how it shakes out. But best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Your nominees are Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Scorn, which is that H.R. Giger looking ass first-person shooter, Stray. Again, artistically, I think all of these games are solid. Stray has a very distinct look. Very high def. I'm looking at the picture of the fucking cat that they use, and I can, count his individual furs. So that game, very bright with color, very popped. But obviously, like Horizon and God of War Ragnarok, at least the PS5 versions really pushing those animations. They have beautiful mocap, but also like a lot of really good environmental work. I don't, again, I haven't played Ragnarok, but I've seen the trailers. I know they've got some good art.
Listen, the wolves
game.
are very fluffy, and you were like, yes, this is good.
Yeah. Both of those games have a lot of like snow and ice and particle effects and shit. Lots of trees. There's a lot of stuff technically going on. And obviously, again, FromSoft, they're just really good at making games. Where's my Armored Core, damn it? Like, they have so many different enemy models and animations and environments and shit. Like, all of these games very solid. Scorn, I think, is kind of the underdog here. It has a very distinct art style. It is absolutely going for that H.R. Giger shit, and it's really weird. I don't know if it'll win, but it probably deserves a nomination just for how fucking weird and specific it is. I suspect that one of our two Sony games will probably rack it in, but I could also see Elden Ring taking this one. Oh, yes. Best soundtrack, best score and music, should say. A lot of people are a little nettled as well. This is one of the areas where, I don't know if I would say, again, because of how they're not really part of the, like, consideration process. It still is a little sad that Sonic Frontiers didn't get in here. A lot of people are saying that OST is really good. And also, some people are saying that Kirby should have been in here. Apparently, the music in Forgotten Land is really good. It's just that it's kind of deeper in the game where maybe a lot of the people in the industry didn't play through,
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of sad. But yeah, best art direction, very solid area. And then, hey, it's those same goddamn games again. It's time for best narrative. For outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game, your nominees are Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality. Which, again, is that other game that we don't know a lot about, but people say is good. This one's pretty interesting. I'm going to feel a little conflicted if Elden Ring wins this one. I'm not going to say that it shouldn't be nominated because the FromSoft games have a really unique way of telling their stories and narratives, Mm-hmm. Kind of piecemeal. A lot of it is on the players to, like, figure out from, item lore and, like, through exploration. It's not always directly told to you. But also, it's not always directly told to you, so sometimes it's very hard to figure out what the details of this narrative are. How do you know if a plot beat or a trope is good if you can't really get a grasp on it, A lot of it is up to your own assumption. It's very unique and novel, and I think there's a reason why a lot of people like these games for that. Is it the best? Is it the most outstanding? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I would probably personally weight more towards God of War Ragnarok or Plague Tale in this. Horizon Forbidden West is cool, and they do have a couple of interesting story beats, but also a lot of its narrative is kind of more of the same from the first game. Like, I feel like we're not doing as weird a stuff anymore as, like, post-apocalyptic robot cavemen. There's still some new neat tricks in there, but I don't know. It feels like it doesn't have quite as much of the novelty factor as the first game had.
Yeah, no. It's something that did iterate a bit on the original, but it did not necessarily do anything particularly new.
Yeah. Like I said, it threw in a couple new twists in there, but we haven't, like, broken out of the idea of, hey, it's the post-apocalypse, but there's robots. So I would definitely lean towards Plague's Tale. Has had a very interesting narrative and very, strong character beats and storytelling and stuff, and I know that God of War Ragnarok is good. Again, I can say this sight unseen. I don't know why some people are so upset that the game got nominations like a week after it came out. I haven't played it yet, and I know that it probably deserves a nomination here because the review scores weren't. They completely flubbed the ball.
I mean, I said, like, I beat it, and, I had thoughts and I had feelings. It's
Well, hey, I'll ask you. Do you think it? Would you vote for it as for your pick for best narrative of
Oh,
the year?
I would in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Out of all of them, I haven't beat. I won't say like Ragnarok's story is perfect, like the overall story with it, but the story between Atreus and his son is goddamn amazing. Like that's if we focus on that particular point, the narrative's amazing. When you actually start involving like trying to act the whole Ragnarok part, it gets a little meh in parts. And I will say that the climax of the story is not as cool as it probably could have been. Personally, I think
They were they held a little back. You think?
yeah.
Well, we'll see on stream. Not that I'm doubting Lucky, but I'm like, okay, we'll talk about that when we get there then. Okay, so next up, best game direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. The nominees are literally the same games again. It's Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality, Stray. We're in. This is category number 2 out of 31. You're basically going to see a lot of the same games over and over again. And this is an interesting one. So creative vision and innovation, right? I definitely think that Horizon and God of War Ragnarok have creative vision. They're both sequels.
Real talk, like I haven't played Elden Ring. I'm pretty sure Elden Ring is gonna get this one.
Probably. I could also see a coin flip for Stray and maybe Immortality. I don't know enough about that game, but also that means that I don't know if enough people in the industry and public know about that game. But yeah, this definitely seems like a category for Elden Ring. Those games definitely have creative vision. You cannot say that FromSoft games are not a product of vision. And they did actually do some stuff to switch up their game design this time. You can now, like, jump. You have a mount you can get around on. It is actually, like, fully open world. They actually changed up their game. And that's kind of where I think God of War Ragnarok and Forbidden West, like I said, are going to lose a couple points in here because they have vision, but I don't know if they have innovation in their game design, you know? I mean, you've played Ragnarok, I haven't. So does it really innovate on the first,
No.
game in the new God of War series? Or
it doesn't.
Is it
Like, you get a new weapon and traversal, and they do a little bit of things to change it up. But you'll be able to go into Ragnarok and like thinking about playing like the first one, and you'll like be able to slide right in there, no problem.
And it's the same from what I remember for Forbidden West. It's like they improved stuff, they did some new shit, and they did some brilliant new systems. But fundamentally, it's still the same game. Like you still need to be sneaky and hunt on people and stuff like that. It's very solid. Stray, I think, obviously has some merit in this category because it is the funny cat game. Like you're doing cat stuff, and it's definitely very unique. But this probably seems like a category that's going to go very strong for Elden Ring.
Like I said, like honestly, I think Stray would win over Forbidden West and Ragnarok, because Stray is one of those games that I believe that the weight of the gameplay and what you do is heavily influenced by how the player plays the game rather than the game playing for you. Like, you can be a person who just goes from objective to objective and do whatever, or you can, go lay on a fucking box and listen to a dude strum a guitar. You can go knock bottles off a thing. It truly embraces player agency in being a fucking cat. And at no point during the game does it tell you, you have to feel a certain way, because the cat never fucking speaks. The cat just goes on about his life.
And that's definitely that like creative vision and innovation we're talking about here. Yes, it is a cat simulator, but it's a cat like you get to be the cat and you can truly embrace your catness. It's time for the big one. Game of the Year, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. There are 6 nominees. You've got you've heard all these titles before, but I will actually say the category in case anybody on the internet hasn't heard them before. You've got A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I want to say, poor Horizon, those guys can't catch a break with release windows or game nominees. They released like a week, after Elden Ring. The first game released like a week before Breath of the Wild. Zero Dawn lost to Breath of the Wild for Game of the Year. Now they have to compete with Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok. And honestly, probably Plague's Tale. I think Plague's Tale is a decent contender. I don't think it'll win, but they're trying. Some fierce ass competition for Horizon. But yeah, this is a wowzer of a category. So, I want to say first of all, I want to address some of the strife on the internet. Some people are nettled about Stray being nominated for Game of the Year. They say Stray shouldn't be nominated for Game of the Year because it's only like 6 hours long. I say to you, sir, madam, non-binary individual, you're incorrect. There is no criteria that the game has to be long for it to be the best in all categories. I do think that Stray does have a very powerful experience in all areas. It is fun to play. It is interesting to play through and to get that story. It has kind of a unique story beats that you will not have quite the same experience doing it twice, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's got some, I don't think it's quite like, you know, Games for Impact level saying shit, but it's got some shit for you to think about, okay? Like, there are some vibes, and it is a all-around technical product, and I think it is solid that they can deliver that product to you in a compact package. Not all games have to be 120 hours and charge you $5 every month, okay? Like, we need to get away from the idea that bigger is purely better. Because there's a lot of big, open, empty-ass games out there that are not on this list and don't deserve to be. That said, this is an absolute slaughterhouse of a category, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've got what I would say are the 4 big games of this year. You know, like, I don't think Plague Tale was getting quite the vibes, but the first game was pretty well received. It was a pretty high up there one, and I think they've really upped their game with the sequel. You know, we've been playing it on stream, so... And while Elden Ring isn't a plot sequel to anything, we know that From Soulsborne games are a house. It is very much an iteration on that formula, right?
Right.
And, you know, God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West are getting it. Again, I haven't played XBC3, but we had to quarantine its discussion on our Discord because the people who were into XB3 were so into it that they were talking about it, like, at length, discussing, like, spoiler subjects or deep technical shit back and forth. And, like, it was actually, like, genuinely sometimes there were hours where it was blocking out other conversations because people were really into it and just very excited to talk about it. Like, I think it's kind of cool that it got an ammo. This is wacky, wild. Like, in good conscience, I can't vote for God of War Ragnarok because I haven't played it yet. So currently my vote is on Stray. I can take it back if I need to, you know, if I get to play God of War Ragnarok before the votes get in. I don't think Stray's going to win. I vote for Stray because I do think it was, out of these games I've played, like physically played, my game of the year. Again, I like Horizon Forbidden West, but also there were times when I was, like, genuinely frustrated with some of their design ideas. I should really go back and play it after they did some updates and stuff. Stray was just, you know, beautiful all the way through. But, like, I want it to win for the memes. I don't think it'll win. But I think all of these games are really high quality and really cool to see them nominated.
If Stray wins, since they need to, like, the developers just need to make a quick video of the cat just pushing the Game Award off a table. Just
yeah, that'd be great. And this is the other thing I talked about, right? Like, we mentioned, you know, some of these games show up later in, like, Best Action Adventure, etc. You know, some of them are in Best RPG. The Game Awards are not just who is most popular, right? It's, right, you know, what the panelists think belong in the category. Elden Ring could totally clinch Game of the Year and probably win a couple of other awards. Like I said, I think it has some genuine teeth in a couple of other categories. But then maybe it doesn't win Best RPG. Maybe Xenoblade Chronicles 3 gets the RPG win, you know, and we move on from there. Alternatively, God forbid, somebody could decide that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is Game of the Year. That could just be how it shakes out, you know? And then Elden Ring is probably going to win a lot of other awards down the line. You know, it's all kind of like how we go through in there. And yeah, I do think Triangle Strategy could have gotten a couple more. I know that you said it was kind of average, but it is kind of a shame to see that, like, not that Square needs more noms. They got a lot of good stuff already, but, like, they've been pushing pretty hard on some game releases this year. Harvestella, DioField Chronicles, you know, Valkyrie Elysium, Star Ocean. None of those got the nod. But the games that they did have that got the nods did get, you know, really well out there. So, yeah, that's the see. If you want to see this go the other way, pay attention when Lucky and I talk about the anime awards and who wins. Because those, I believe, are much more heavily weighted to popular votes in a lot of categories. Or they have a lot more categories that are explicitly the most popular vote wins. And sometimes you get some dumb shit in there just because people like it, you know?
Yeah.
it's not the best. It's just the most popular. But yeah, all of these are big slobber knockers. I mean, I'll ask you, Lucky. You've physically played several of these games. Do you think it's God of War Ragnarok for you out of this list?
Out of this list, yeah, I'd have to say God of War Ragnarok. Like I said, the combat's good. The exploration is good. Like I said, like, I don't know necessarily about sound design and whatnot, but like the music's good. Like, again, like, I mean, honestly, a lot of people, I do believe it's probably going to come down to either Elden Ring and God of War.
Yeah.
If I have to say though, like, from what I understand of things, it's probably going to be Elden Ring is probably going to be the winner for Game of the Year. I believe. Not just because you know, it is a, like, usually my problem with Soulsborne's games is not necessarily it's not necessarily the that I find them you know, bad. It's just usually they're a little bit too difficult for me to casually play in a world where I am constantly trying to slam video games.
Yeah, they require a little bit of extra effort to put in, and it's just like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah. No, like, I'm pretty sure there are some people who played nothing but Elden Ring for months and got, you know, the full experience out of that. Or people who you were able to sit down for, like, you know, like a week, like a week and do nothing but play Elden Ring. Like,
yeah.
And so I think probably as a video game experience, Elden Ring is probably above God of War Ragnarok, because that's the thing about, because one of the key things between Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok, Elden Ring has replayability. God of War Ragnarok really does not. That's the thing about stories that have their narrative focus right up in front. Once you have those story beats in here, you're not necessarily you know, jonesing to go for them again. Elden Ring has an advantage in that you can play the same story over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because they don't upload the story up front.
It has a new game plus mode, and you can completely change what you want to do.
Yeah. So I believe that Elden Ring has a wider and deeper appeal. It might not have hit like necessarily the story beat highs, because again, you have to find those things, but it's a game that you can play deeper and longer, I think I want to say.
And technically, Game of the Year is for, like, what was your best all-around experience? Like, good technical, good, you know, creative, all that other stuff. And I think it's solid. And I want to throw this out there. I agree kind of with the toss-up, mostly because looking over years that have won past, both of those studios and those game series have pedigree here. So I found this really interesting, and I talked about this, I think, a little on Tuesday, but I also want to go over some of the other stuff. So the Video Game Awards has been doing Game of the Year award for quite a few years now, since 2014. And I think there's some very solid pedigree for some titles. By the way, I do want to shout out, first ever winner of the award in 2014 was Dragon Age Inquisition. Very solid. That was up against Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Hearthstone, and Shadow of Mordor. 2015 went to Witcher 3. Again, I feel kind of like some of these takes will have possibly aged poorly. It's very funny that, you know, Witcher 3 was darling enough to win the award, and then, you know, Cyberpunk comes out and you guys are really mad about it. But it was up against Bloodborne, so Bloodborne was nominated the year after Dark Souls 2. Fallout 4, Metal Gear Solid 4, Phantom Pain, Super Mario Maker was on there. I feel like Metal Gear Solid 5 is just because of, like, the whole thing around it, and the fact that, you know, there was, I know that Jeff Keighley is tight with Kojima and stuff. The game is very clearly unfinished, so it feels a little rough to actually pick it for Game of the Year. The gameplay's really good, though. 2016, Overwatch 1. Again, talk about things that have aged slightly poorly. Overwatch 2 gets one nomination. Overwatch was Game of the Year. You know things have changed. But also nominated was Doom, Inside. So you'll notice, by the way, that they are not averse to having, you know, smaller but impactful games show up on here. Titanfall 2, Uncharted 4, Thief's End. So very solid picks. 2017 was Breath of the Wild 1. That was when Zero Dawn Persona 5, Super Mario Odyssey, and PUBG were all nominated. Again, very solid. Also, again, kind of annoyed that Genshin gets to come back for extra bonus rewards, but P5 and P5 Royal don't seem to be able to do that. But they did nominate it for Game of the Year, I guess. 2018, that's when they went to 6 nominees, and God of War won that year, so the previous has won an award. It was up against Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, Marvel Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and RDR2. All of them excellent games. 2019 was when Sekiro Shadows Die Twice won. So again, FromSoft has pedigree. They've won an award. It was up against Control, Death Stranding, the RE2 remake, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and The Outer Worlds. That's Obsidian's game, not The Outer Wilds, The Outer Worlds, Obsidian's RPG. 2020 was the year that we're all still mad about, as I joke, where Last of Us Part 2 won, but it was up against Animal Crossing New Horizons, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, and Hades. Again, this is why people are upset. I'm not saying Last of Us Part 2 wasn't a functional game, but it was very much an industry darling, and those other games are fucking slammers, okay? Even I'll say this. Animal Crossing? The game everybody played? Except me. I never quite got around to getting into it, but everybody played that game during quarantine, you know? Ghost of Tsushima, fantastic. Fucking Final Fantasy VII Remake is the wind beneath my wings, and Hades is on here. Fucking Hades is a rad game, guys. Also, again, if you're concerned about Stray being weird on this list, it's not. They usually nominate like a really darling indie game in here, and sometimes they win. 2021, I feel like I've completely blanked out this Game Awards, but that Game of the Year was won by It Takes Two. The other nominees were Deathloop, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village. And then 2022 is obviously the ones we've already announced. So, From and Santa Monica Studio have both won a Game of the Year before, not in the same year. And there was no other From games to compete with that year. I don't know what year Dark Souls 3 came out, but it was not nominated that year, funnily enough. I'm sure some Dark Souls people are mad about that Dark Souls 2 got a nom and 3 didn't, but it's contentious, you know. So I feel like based on pedigree alone, it's a coin flip. Those games are both very solid contenders. Horizon is kind of got a little bit of the, you know, always a bridesmaids problem we've talked about. They tend to get nominated in years with other games that are like, of course Breath of the Wild is Game of the Year. Like, why would you not pick it as Game of the Year that year? It was like kind of the game, you know? While it has some contentious subsystems, it was kind of the event of the season, and it was a truly, you know, worth it experience. Odyssey was also really good that year, and obviously, you know, I voted for P5 that year, but Persona 5 is also a terribly iconic and well-loved, you know, longevity game. But I personally would say in terms of like pop culture impact and overall game quality, it would have to be P5 or Breath of the Wild. If anything, I would assume P5 didn't win just because it was a 100-hour JRPG.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with a lot of JRPGs is to actually get through them, you actually have to spend a lot of fucking time on them.
Yeah, they are, like, I know a lot of people make fun of them for having, you know, convoluted narratives. A lot of that, I think, is due to the history of localization. But I would not say convoluted, but a lot of JRPGs have long narratives. They are very built out and require you to put in a lot of time to actually get to the end, you know, because they're meant to be really big and epic and exploratory.
Well, you just think about it. Just think about it in fucking P5. You literally go through like 3/4 of someone's fucking school year.
Yeah, no, it's the better part of a year, right? So yeah, it is a very expansive day by day story, and you know, Personas are like that. Lots of other JRPGs have similar elements and aspects. So I can understand why people are not like grokking that the same way that I grokked it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. And honestly, like I said, I'll find it, you know, funny if Stray wins. But honestly, I'm just gonna be happy for whoever clocks it in for Game of the Year. You know, like all of these games I think are good. You know, I've talked before on streams about like while I've been streaming Bloodborne, for instance, I have my own kind of like thoughts and feelings on like what FromSoft would need to change very slightly to get me to shovel out, you know, $60 or $70 every time. Mm-hmm. And like I said, admittedly, I have a lot of past trauma over buying Demon's Souls twice, and that game's still kicking my ass. Kicking my ass even when it was free. But I am not going to sit here and say that Elden Ring's a bad game. No, Elden Ring is a really good game. It has a really high score on Metacritic. Lots of people bought it and liked it. It's like, From's most best-selling title, Like, it's got the steez, I think. Everybody's got the style and the substance here. What I think is going to be really interesting is, like, in those lower down categories, right, who does win what awards and then who comes out as Game of the Year. Like I said, I hope that all of these games will get their druthers and will not be completely boxed out. But we'll see what happens, It's, as we always say, it is a privilege just to be nominated. I know a lot of people are kind of happy that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 even got the nod, because that is kind of, a big open one.
Oh, yeah, no, that means people saw it had the potential to be Game of the Year.
Yeah.
But with
there is one thing I will say that's kind of interesting. Go ahead, Lucky.
Oh, no, go for it.
I was going to say this actually about the best performance category. People have pointed out there are no dub actors are accounted for this, and no Japanese talent either, which is kind of interesting.
I think that's interesting, but like everyone knows me. I literally play everything in Japanese. But like this is a Western game. This is a Western Game Awards.
Yeah. I feel like if they included the dub performances, we would have an issue where you got to remember there's a huge number of outlets. That means we're gonna get a lot of cross comparison. Like there's like how can the guys in Brazil push for like the Brazilian dub, which I assume for a lot of games there is if they've got so many outlets and shit.
I guess the best way to do it would just to literally make each one their own fucking category, but then you'd have a lot of fucking extra categories.
Yeah, it feels like kind of a pain in the ass. I do kind of wish that like some of the performances over, would get picked for stuff. But we got some things.
Yes, Lucky's been playing Nikkei in the corner this entire time.
Yep. But all right, that means we have been going for almost 2 hours on just the Video Game Awards. It was pretty good. I need to take a quick break and walk around, brave the fucking cold, because it's 50 degrees outside. And some of you may be like, that's not that cold. Remember how, like, 2 weeks ago I was complaining that it was 80 degrees during the day? That's cold, okay? It's about the shift. So I got to go outside of my hot box, and I will be right back. I will pause the audio and leave Lucky to beat these guys up for the 50th time.
Yeah. But I did have one last thing I wanted to talk about the Video Game Awards.
Oh, okay, go for it then.
Yeah.
I'll make sure we're resuming the rolling. I'll take a break.
Yeah, you can take a break. I can talk for a little bit.
All right, I'll leave the audio running. I'll be right back.
He'll be right back. The thing about the Video Game Awards, though, that I actually am really excited about is even though it's an award ceremony, it's also like almost a freaking a convention event, because this is when a lot of companies will come out and they'll throw out money to release game trailers and stuff. Us speaking about Final Fantasy 16 earlier, with all the recent interviews that Creative Business Unit 3 has been doing, they've been talking about how they'll be announcing their release date soon, and maybe having a new trailer. And with 16 being like a anticipated game and 14 being nominated several times, I think it'd be a good chance that they might reveal that trailer at the Video Game Awards. We're still looking maybe to get some new information about whatever Elden Ring is doing for their new DLC, or even that Armored Core reveal. Maybe even like a new Tears of the Kingdom trailer. Like, awards are cool and stuff, but usually when it comes to the Video Game Awards, like, I'm always more excited about seeing what new announcements are gonna be put out there. Because I'm always excited about that next get that next bit of news. I think I heard some noise.
Yeah, I'm back.
Alrighty.
I'm back from my stretch. Sorry, Cult of the Lamb has a very good social media presence. They just made a Pokedex joke. I will retweet it. But all right. So you say what you felt like saying about the Video Game Awards?
I did.
Okay. What was it? Just to recap.
I was just talking about how I'm excited. Like, while the awards are very nice, I'm actually more excited about seeing what new trailers and announcements will be at the show as well.
Whoop. Losing some of the stream juice there.
What happened?
Ah! There was some cutouts and some drops in the stream. I think we're fine now.
Oh, okay.
I got the gist of what you're saying about the show itself also being interesting. That'd be good to watch. It is my mother's birthday, so I'll have to see if we're not busy doing something else. But also, it's a West Coast stream, so usually that misses me. My parents are older and don't like to go out in the middle of the night. Also, it's frickin' cold. So we'll see what the haps is.
Weather just ain't playing nice with you, eh?
I mean, it's just, you know, it's we've decided it is fully winter, and that means that it's just like, you know, 50 or 40 degrees overnight, and it's like, okay, you need some layers for that. And it's not like we're going to turn on the central heating because it's still like 70 degrees during the day, at least when the sun is high. But all right. Okay. I have scratched the VGAs off. That was a very robust topic we have talked about.
Yeah,
There's a couple of other.
Yeah, we're like, what, 2 hours in now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid show. Knew it would be. So there's a couple of other fun, interesting things going on. We can talk about. I mean, I can just go down my list of stuff. Does chat want to hear about, you know, my first impressions of Pokemon?
Uh-oh.
And if they don't, you know, I've got other stuff we can talk about.
Architect says sure.
Well, we got a couple of shares. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out today. Technically, they came out at, you know, midnight last night if you had a digital pre-order. I did not. I went to the physical. But Amazon did deliver it on time today. So I was able to get in there, do my usual shit, update my Switch because, you know, it's usually been like a month between I last got a Switch game, so it needs to update and then update the game software, play it out. I got Scarlet because, of course, I did. Do you know anything about
Red?
me? Also, the professor in Scarlet, way hotter. Canon MILF, because I met her son and I beat him up already. He was a doofus. He tried to attack me with a squirrel. But yeah, so I've been playing the game for like, I got a couple hours in before I, you know, stopped to let my Switch batteries top up and let my Switch battery pack top up. Yes, I'm playing it in handheld mode. I've heard that the game actually plays slightly better that way. I have not encountered the graphical glitches and slowdowns people are talking about yet. I suspect I will at some point, though I did make sure to, you know, do any day one updates. It does seem like overall there seem to be some optimization misses. There are some memory leak issues. Now, hopefully that means that those can be fixed with some post-game updates. I don't really know what Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, you know, Game Freak's track record is with that. Obviously, a lot of people are taking this opportunity to talk about how Game Freak sucks and is lazy as always. Keep in mind, they have released 2 video games this year, which does not mean they are lazy. It means they've been working their butts off, which is probably the problem. I'm sure Nintendo and the Pokemon Company are asking them to produce games at a very high rate, and sometimes that gets a little tough. I do also think that the Switch is showing its age these days, but that is not necessarily what our problem is. But I haven't run into any of those issues yet, though. Much like Cyberpunk, there are a lot of funny out-of-context clips showing up on the internet. But that said, overall, I'm having a lot of fun, guys. I'm still in what is called Area 1 of the game. I have a full team already. Like, I already have a full 6 and a couple of Pokemon in the box.
Failed to sync.
Yeah, it happens. But, you know, I'm catching old mons, new mons, all the mons. There are birds, there are bugs. There's a weird, you know, weasel otter thing I found in a cave. All kinds of fun stuff. But overall, I am already feeling like a lot of people talked about. On a design level, I feel like Scarlet and Violet are doing the thing people wanted and actually, like, advancing the structure of the games. I know a lot of people talked about how Sun and Moon were really handholdy. They were kind of like the soft reboots to get the kids back into the style, so they had a lot of forced tutorials that you can't really get out of. Sword and Shield, I really enjoyed it, but that's because I literally didn't play any of the Pokemon generations that were on the 3DS. My last Pokemon game was Black and White, which I enjoyed, but apparently is controversial in the backlog of people's Pokemon opinions. I did not realize that. I had no problems with that game. We'll see how that one shakes out. I'll probably get my experiences on Black and White 2 and X and Y and, Sun and Moon whenever those are remade for the Switch 2 in, 2030. And I will hella be buying the Black and White remakes. I skipped Diamond and Pearl because a lot of people said that really didn't go anywhere or do anything that interesting. But I will probably want to replay Black and White basically in the big format. But Sword and Shield, that one really stuck to return to basics in kind of an inoffensive way. I don't feel like a lot of people do play Pokemon for the story, but I will agree, in retrospect, Sword and Shield does have some very... what's the word I want to use to describe this? I guess flat narratives. Like, a lot of stuff is just linear. You go places, you beat the gyms, you also have a side plot about your, best friend and his struggle to try and be the best guy, I don't know. I think people... Well, actually, one of the things that was controversial was the Pokemon designs. That's when everybody says Pokemon died, because there was the garbage bag Pokemon and the ice Pokemon. The ice cream Pokemon. But I fucking love those guys, so don't fucking at me. I like when Pokemon are weird. Like, I love Tone Edge and shit. So, it's interesting. Yeah, that's one of the things. I think some people also kind of dislike the formatting for the different areas and stuff was pretty straightforward and easy. The quote unquote ease of Pokemon games is a thing some people complain about sometimes, but also is really weird. Like, it's before Scarlet and Violet, they're fairly linear, so I don't really know what you expect. It's got kind of a straightforward difficulty curve. I guess that's kind of the issue, maybe. Like I said, I don't have any problems with the narratives of Sword and Shield, but it is very, very, very linear, very straight line. There is kind of a thing with the legendary Pokemon and all that stuff, but that's very subtle in the background and just kind of happens to you or at you, really, without any reason for you to do it other than, lol, Pokemon, you're the player character, you do shit. Here's your cool Sword Wolf or Shield Wolf, and I'm like, frick yeah, Sword Wolf. Frick yeah, Dracolich Pokemon. So, I'm fairly easygoing as far as Pokemon goes, but I will say that, the story beats were not super in-depth. I kind of like some of the characters, but Hop is annoying sometimes. Scarlet and Violet really seems to have iterated on a lot of that. I hear a lot of people are talking up kind of the characterization and characters they run into. Apparently, the storylines are actually, pretty involved. I haven't really hit that yet, but I kind of see where they're going, But I will say, characterization-wise, they've done a pretty good job. Well, let's not talk about Tweedledee and Tweedledum. We had to come up with post-game content. But like I said, Scarlet and Violet, I'm not very far in the game. I haven't even made it to my first day of school because public transit in this region sucks. I have to hike so far to get to school, guys. Through several regions populated by Pokemon, I see why the school hands me a Pokemon for free on my first day. By the way, I went with Weedcat, as is good and just.
Good and just.
Yeah, I'm not a hard typist. I will go with Pokemon I like best. I was a little, I don't know if disappointed is the right word, but I was very, very whelmed when the final form was leaked, and it is just, the grass starter is the furry bait one. They are the most humanoid at the end. I still miss my my Torterra, my giant grass turtle with a tree on his back. That was a cool generation. I sometimes feel like maybe because they're so rushed, Game Freak doesn't have the opportunity to make really wacky and wild Pokemon designs as much anymore because they have to 3D model them. When you're just drawing 2D sprites, you don't have to make shit up, You're not beholden to the constraints of 3D modeling. If a dude can draw it, you can make it work. But here we are. But yeah, NPCs, like, I feel like I'm a lot more hooked. You know, I joked about this in our Discord. I once again want to ask what the fuck my Pokemon mom does because our house is huge. We live in a fucking like coastal rich ass neighborhood. It's got 2 stories. There's a fucking turret attached to our house.
There's a
giant
turret?
garden.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a little, not like that kind of turret, like a classical tower
Oh,
turret.
a tower. Okay.
Yeah, a tower, like a turreted tower type thing, you know. But we're like fucking multi-level. Your room is the entire like 2nd floor loft space. You own a Nintendo Switch and a big screen TV. You know, like it's like, fuck, dude, we must be rich. Especially because the person who lives, quote unquote, next door, again, it's down the fucking coastline, is the student council president, Nimona, who also goes to your school and is in your class.
Kaijo.
You're apparently in the same year, despite the fact that she's about a head taller than you.
Tower girls yell.
Yeah. And Nimona's house is even bigger and fancier than yours, even though she spends most of her time at the dorms. But, like, I feel like they've done a good job of latching onto her as the kind of helpful, quote-unquote, rival character. She is your friendly rival. And she's just really supportive because she fucking loves Pokemon battles, guys. She fucking loves battling Pokemon. Literally, you do the tutorial battle with her, and then she's immediately like, that was really neat, but I think I got a new strategy. Let's go again. And your, and your principal, who, by the way, has come down to you on the first day to deliver you extra paperwork and get you your starter Pokemon. So he seems like a cool guy. He's, you know, actually out here doing work, even though he's pretty old looking. It's like, Nimona, don't you think your new friend needs some rest? They have just fought a battle, okay? Nimona's just like, you're right, sorry. Got excited. But, like, she hooks me, she gives you the battle tutorial and the Pokemon catching tutorial, but it's not even really a tutorial. It's just, you have a scripted fight, and you have a scripted battle with a Pokemon you can catch, and the game gives you the tooltips to use the mechanics. They're like 2 pages long. If you know what you're doing, you can speed through them. And she's very generous. Like, I feel like this game has all the right softball starter stuff, but without making it too tutorial-y, right? Like, Nimona just hands you, like, 15 total Pokeballs, and is just like, okay, go to town. When we get down the road, tell me how many Pokemon you've caught. Like, that's it. The game is just like, here's a shitload of basic Pokeballs. Catch the Pokemon if you want them. You know? You know, same with, like, crawling with extra items. They have finally done away with Pokemon trainers battling you on eye contact, so they are less of an obstacle and more of a self-inflicted challenge. I do think this mechanic is necessary because the game is open world. You can go wherever the fuck you want to pursue the various plot lines, so you can run into wild Pokemon and trainers who are vastly over-leveled for you.
Sick.
So that now that trainers aren't mandatory, you can actually avoid them. You can go places early to get like your fast travel points and shit unlocked or to find interesting Pokemon and not have to worry about guys fucking dobbling you out. There's no more of the meat gate problem. I think it makes it really interesting to do Pokemon battles because now you can mind your own business. If you're just trying to run home to a Pokemon Center, you don't got to worry about new guys coming to kick your ass, you know, and bully you. You decide when you initiate the fight. Same with wild Pokemon. It's the same as Sword and Shield was, and I think some earlier areas. There are no completely randomized tall grass battles. Pokemon just spawn in the road, in the grass, in the water, wherever. Some of them are like up in the air flying. Some of them are like literally sitting in trees that I can't headbutt yet, but I'm sure that's what the mechanic is. And if you see a Pokemon, you're like, oh, it's that guy. Boom, you can grab him. There is no more running shoes. You just free sprint now. You just run all the time. And instead, hitting B, and I don't remember this mechanic from Sword and Shield, so I think it's new. You can sneak now. You can crouch. That might have been in Sword and Shield. I don't remember it at all, but even so, it's good to keep it. So if you don't want wild Pokemon battles, or if you're dealing with Pokemon that are skittish, you can crouch and sneak up on them. I don't have my quote-unquote bike yet. I have been transferred ownership of this really rare, sick-ass Pokemon who can become a bike, but we haven't learned our bikeness yet. Okay, so crouching was in Arceus. Okay. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Pokemon Arceus was really well received, and it wasn't a main game, so it's good of them to port over some of this stuff. I mean, there's some risk given to you in this game. They do have a scripted fight where a fucking level 40 Houndoom like corners you, and they're like, ah, shit, I'm gonna lose, and then you get bailed out. But yeah, no, like, there's a lot of good work in this. Pokemon centers are now just open. Like, they're not even a building you go into anymore. They're just fucking stands out there, and they're all lined up there. TMs are craftable. They showed this off. I haven't gotten to play around to play with it a little, but you start with quite a wealth of them you can manufacture. Enemies you defeat drop mats. They drop Pokemon mats, y'all, which you can use for crafting them or sell them for currency and stuff. And overall, like I said, I'm not very far. Like, I haven't even started my Pokemon challenge. I haven't even made it to fucking school. I have a full team of Pokemon already. We're all leveling because I personally like that the EXP share is immediate and universal. Your whole Pokemon team levels up all the time. Makes, leveling backliner guys up to current level gear really easy. And I appreciate this. But, like, I'm having a blast. Like, all the characters are interesting so far. Like I said, I haven't met the professor, but I met her son, who's kind of, like, being a weird guy to me. But I'm like, what's your deal, man? Even all of the 3 starter Pokemon get characterization before you pick the professor. The principal lets them all out of their Pokeballs, and you just walk around your house with them. Yeah, I guess making it a toggle would probably be cool. I still appreciate that it is, like, on by default and it's going there. I probably wouldn't turn it off. I kind of see maybe the appeal because it is open world. You might end up, power leveling and having to go back to lower level gyms and wanting to, like, use some of your underleveled Pokemon. But I guess you can still just grind it out in the open world with some guys. I think there's a dynamic to it. It really depends on how easy it is for them to code, like, a simple on-off switch. If it was possible in previous games, that probably means it's easy, but it might not be. I take nothing for granted with game design. Like, it's always a pain in the ass to lose a feature, but you always got to wonder where it is, Like, why did they drop switching it? And maybe they just want to be... Well, technically, the EXP share started as an item you had to fucking find in the game later and equip to a specific Pokemon, and it split the EXP. This version is way more simplified than that, and I prefer it. Like I said, I can kind of see the arguments for being able to toggle it off just in case. It is kind of sad that if that was a feature you could toggle easily, they have not included it. But overall, I feel like they're pushing the experience. And like I said, we're meeting characters that are nice. All the animations are really cool. Like I said, Nemona's really rad. She's, like, super excited to be your friend and also to battle with you. And she's immediately helpful. Uh-oh. Hold on. What's our problem?
We're at the pump and bunker. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die so much. Oh, God.
He's going to die.
Damn it, Yoko Taro.
Yep. Here we be.
Oh.
I just realized, you said the next patch might be in, it might be December. I wonder if they'll do any, like, acknowledgement of, like, Crisis Core Reunion.
They might.
Throw in, like, an extra boss or something. Have some funnies. Release some cosmetics.
They do occasional collabs, and there are a lot of cosmetics which are just the outfits of other Final Fantasy characters.
Yeah. Like, I can see aesthetically why they haven't gone super ham on, like, on 7 Remake, because it doesn't quite line up, Yeah. I mean, I don't think it makes it difficult for, like, core team of 6, because all your 6 guys are, like, going in there. I mean, I don't think Nemona is much older than us. She said she's in your class. I think she's meant to be, like, an upperclassman. I also don't know what age this character's supposed to be, though. I want to throw this out there. They don't explicitly say your age as, like, 10 anywhere in the opening, and youngsters, little kids, are very small in this game. Like, they're like half your height, so I think you're supposed to be, like, you might be, like, the equivalent of, like, a first year in high school. You might be, like, 14 or 15. I don't know. It's hard to tell with, like, the uniforms and stuff. I don't know. I find Pokemon games enough of a challenge without them, just because Pokemon's is bullshit. I mean, she's about a head taller than you. I think she's only probably got, like, a year on you.
This one. Ah! Oh, they're both okay.
Okay, so that sorry, I was just studying that mechanic. That's fun. We just make zones and then we move them around and then we decide which zones are gonna kill you.
Listen, the near
And then we play
raids,
zone roulette.
the near raids are fun, but Jesus fucking Christ, they're hard.
Speaking of difficulty. Anyway, she's cool. Like, that's the thing. Like, when the principal introduces her as the... Oh, I gotta watch. I gotta see the murder. You have been thrown into the void. Goodbye.
I hit my back jump.
I see. Now watch out for this. But yeah, the fact that the principal introduces her as like the student council president, you're like, ah, so ideally she is here to support us for, you know, friendship and shit, but also fighting. Like it again, it's not like condescending or anything. It's you know, it's very approachable. All the characters are kind of neat. You know, they've peppered out a lot of awards. There's a lot of items out in the world that you can pick up in the wild that kind of reward you for just poking all the different corners. Even for like the early routes and stuff, Pokemon seem fairly diverse. Like I said, I think my total catch is like 8 or so. Like, and again, haven't even gotten to school. Even though I did have an encounter with legendary Pokemon, kind of. So I'm having a good time.
I feel
Me
slightly
personally.
mad that I just realized that there's 2 Dancers, 2 Reapers, and the fucking Bard here, and both the fucking Dancers fucking dance with a fucking Reaper. I am very alone right now.
Oof. I mean, technically, I assume that's probably because aren't those both melee DPS?
Yeah, they
Or
are.
Dancer's ranged?
Dancer is ranged, Reaper is melee DPS.
Okay, so I could actually see an argument either way. I could see them, because if one of them wants to partner with you, you guys both could sit in the back, but also, the Reaper got to get up under their guts. Oh boy, it's reaping down. But yeah, no, I am enjoying Scarlet so far. It seems like they really have stepped up their game and like they are improving the core Pokemon experience. The aesthetics of this region are very cool. You know, they make sure to throw in a little bit of the Spanish influence, which is the source here, and you know, kind of spec everything out. You know, a lot of nice wide open areas. There's plenty of Pokemon to catch. Yes, I have caught a Lechonk. I have named it Lechonk. So we're having fun. I'll be playing more as soon as we're done here. But it seems decent. I know in some cases there's some weirdness. Like I think some outlets are actually scoring it lower than Sword and Shield because of the technical glitches, which seems a little rough. And I hope they can patch up some of that. But all in all, like I said, I've even if it is only a couple of hours, my day one experience fairly good. Thumbs up for me.
Oh shit. Pain! Safe.
Pain Pekka?
Not quite Pain. Well, yes, Pain Pecco. I just gotta run all the way back to this spot here. Ah, zone roulette! Wait. Nope. Woo! That tickled my tail.
Browse some news coverage. Anything jump out? I know that there's a lot of snow happening. People watch out for that.
Oh, we're doing it again.
There's some new Netflix stuff I gotta catch up on, but I have been enjoying. I talked about this last week. Been enjoying watching some Stargate SG-1 as well.
Yes.
There are a couple of interesting
One of our
news
fucking
stories
Reapers
out
left.
there.
What the fuck?
Oof. Wonder why.
Haha, and another bard showed up. Perfect. Now the Reaper. Yes. Yes. Now I have a dance partner. Excellent.
It do be like that sometimes. Anyway, just walk all over these soul panels. Yes, the Discord fight's about what's cold. Me, I'm like, yo, dog, it's fucking, it's 60 degrees at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That means it's probably going to be 50 or 40 degrees at night. I'm cold. I'm not saying it is cold. I'm saying I am cold.
The answer
My
is
body
it's up
is
to your
leaving my body.
personal fucking preference.
True. That's when I say I am cold. My heat is leaving my body. I'm not having a cold time. There was some interesting news I read earlier in the week. I don't see anything out there. Apparently, like some banks have done some assessments of Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering, and like rating them as underperforming, which is kind of interesting. Their logic. Some of it is kind of related to. Like, some of it is like, oh, they're, you know, making investors nervous by kind of shaking things up. But also, you know, the products have a very high price point, and they're releasing a lot of products, so they're concerned about, like, product fatigue. We'll see if this actually makes Magic do anything different. Obviously, they recently decided to reprint some of those classic Power 9 cards as $1,000 proxies you can't even play, which has literally no purpose because collectors don't want those because they're not going to be worth the same thing. And players don't want them because they can't actually play them. So they're just, hello, I am easily parted from my money awards. But yeah, apparently, you know, there's some concern about all the product movement. It's kind of interesting to hear these thoughts from, like, people outside the industry. Another, you know, absolutely wild bonker piece of news. Lucky you may have seen this in our Discord, and some of you may have seen this as well. But, So, Yuji Naka, who I believe is one of the original, you know, designers for Sonic the Hedgehog, has been arrested in Tokyo on suspicion of insider trading. Specifically, this is during his time. He has been working with Square Enix lately. He did Balan Wonderworld, a game which did not do well. I think the main thing is you called it Balan Wonderworld and not Balan Wonderland. I don't know what the hell you were thinking, but branding. But the suspicion around this is around a Dragon Quest mobile game that was announced. Apparently, he bought up some stock in Square Enix just before the game announcement was made, and naturally, because Dragon Quest is super popular, the stock price went up, and that is, in fact, insider trading. If you have inside knowledge that they're going to drop a reveal that's going to make the stock price go up, you are not supposed to use that information to buy up the stock ahead of time so you can make yourself a lot of money. People do not always follow this rule, but it is usually frowned upon by most, you know, trade authorities. And, yeah, we'll see if that goes anywhere, but that's a weird one, you know. This has led to many people joking because Balan Wonderworld was not very well received that he somehow deliberately tanked the game to affect Square Enix's share price. I doubt that's the story. But yeah, that's a kind of weird, sad news. Kind of rough, you know?
Yep.
We'll see how that one shakes out, if he's charged or not, you know? If he's, like, fully charged. He's been arrested, I guess, so they've filed charges. But, like, if it goes to court, what charges exactly are levied and how it shakes out, we'll see. I'm going to say this is probably going to put a damper in his future career prospects, with major studios anyway, because they're probably not going to be keen on having a guy tagged for insider trading. If he is exonerated, though, you know, if he's found not guilty, he probably won't be, because of the way the Japanese court system works. It's ludicrously stacked in the favor of the prosecution. This is where a lot of jokes from the Ace Attorney series come from, in that their prosecutors have ludicrously high case clearance rates, not just because of prosecutorial misconduct. No, it's also because they don't prosecute cases where there's not a lot of really good evidence. So it's probably not looking too good. If they've got him arrested, that probably means they've got the facts and figures that they're willing to go to bat for this case. So we'll see. This is why you should not do an insider trading, even if it will make you a lot of money, because there's some goofus. You can get got for it. You can get goofed.
No. Safe.
Sorry, guys. Whenever Lucky does the no, that's when I pause and I stare intently at the preview screen.
Listen, there are mechanics happening right now. They are not fun.
Yeah. I'm sure Yoko Taro was like, how can I fuck with people the most?
Yes, this is actually what happened.
Yoshi P, what's the weirdest mechanic I can do in this system? We'll do that. Let's do that one. Can I insert a bullet hell minigame into the middle of this boss fight?
He did.
I knew he did. The words are coming out of my mouth, and I'm like, all right, me, what's my over-under that actually happened? But yeah, I think the only other, like, big newsline item right away, because I don't really have anything more to say about the guy getting arrested. It's just, it is news, and it's wild. But
It's wild.
we hear. We'll see what happens. Ooh, actually? No, apparently, sorry, Wizards of the Coast is trending, and apparently there is a little bit of a stock price slide because, you know, some banks have been saying that they're not doing as much juice as we thought they would. Interesting. But speaking of Twitter, Twitter was fucking nuclear last night.
Don't touch me.
And there's a couple reasons for that. The overall level is basically what has appeared to have happened is that Twitter has closed one of its offices temporarily, its physical offices. Obviously, since Elon Musk bought the company, a lot of people have been getting laid off because he paid quite a lot of money for Twitter, and I'm sure he wants to make that money back in some form, hence the Twitter Blue and verified debacles that had to be shut down because people immediately abused the system and, you know, caused billions of dollars of loss due to the fact that
People are fucking gremlins.
well, people are gremlins, and also the stock market, like everything else, is controlled by non-sentient AI algorithms who just read shit on Twitter.
Which is not
Guys,
smart.
I think we may have run into the crisis of our time. You need to stop making AI algorithms. But yes, several companies lost a lot of money because of joke tweets that people were able to make with the new paid-for checkmark, and the new like official subtitle system will get around that a little bit, but still, there's some monetary concerns going on. So obviously, people are being let go. People were probably already going to have to be let go, and I think some people were being let go before Elon even bought the company because Twitter has never been super popular, you know, in terms of money making. They've had problems with revenue streams in the past, monetizing the platform.
Yes, if I actually remember seeing this number, I think they were operating at a $4 million loss daily.
Yes, they owe some cash back, which technically, because he is the owner and CEO now of, Elon also owes that cash back.
Yeah, so
Which is, you know, why he is in such a hurry to get this profitable. And like we've talked about Elon Musk before. I mean, as like a lot of people, I think he's kind of a prick sometimes. I think it's kind of funny and in some ways respectable, but also in some ways kind of just like, oh my God, what are you doing? Where like he comes across as just a guy, like he says whatever shit comes to mind on Twitter. Elon Musk is currently in the factor of he's in the find out stage of fuck around and find out.
Mm-hmm.
He just says stuff sometimes, guys, and just does things and figures it out later, and he's kind of like, I have a shitload of money, I'll be okay, you know? Because he is a billionaire, he gets to play fast and loose, where a lot of us would have to be a little more careful with our lives. And sometimes it works out for him, and sometimes it does not. So we'll see how that shakes out. But, you know, the Twitter offices have shut down. I assume that they must have some kind of work-from-home infrastructure still in place because of the pandemic, but, you know, it is how it is.
I'm pretty sure Elon Musk tried to shut down the work from home.
Oh, I'm sure he did because he does not like work from home. But I assume that Twitter still has some of the, like, remembers some of their pipeline for that, hopefully. Hopefully not all those people have quit and or been let go. Because also, several people have resigned en masse. Because a email from Musk is circulating, which is basically like, okay, we're in a rough spot. We need to buckle down. I'm going to switch us to an engineering focus. We want to find Twitter 2.0 and have a real killer release of that so we can bring ourselves back up. If you're not down to clown with working, long hours and working hard and all that extra bullshit. And I don't think it said this in the email, but the implication is, and by the way, if it doesn't work out, we're probably all losing money on this. Take 3 months of severance and, go home. Like, that's depending on your job role, 3 months of severance may or may not be okay. It's not no severance. It's not the most dickish move, but it's definitely like, the ultimatum stage does not look very good.
It doesn't look good, but I do think it's like people need to consider that businesses need to make fucking money. Even the fucking original creator of Twitter came out and says, like, no, this is kind of my fault. Because he made the company grow way too big, way too fast. And they've been talking about how there are, like, unneeded system and unneeded positions, how there are jobs where people literally don't actually have to do anything besides push a few buttons.
And so, obviously, does that mean that like Elon Musk was just cool to just be like, we found all those unnecessary systems and turned them off?
No,
hey, some people got kicked out of two-factor authentication.
Like, no, that is not cool. But again, this is one of those things that bugs me about people is people like to just utterly demonize one side.
Yeah, it's
like
okay. Elon Musk is a hip shooter, right?
Yeah.
I think we've established that. He's been a hip shooter for years.
Yeah.
This is nothing new about him.
No.
Is that always the correct decision?
No.
Fuck no. Does he get away with it because he has lots of money? Fuck yes. But at the same time, a lot of people are treating this like, this is devil work. No, it's just the same shit. And
like Elon got a fucking bad investment, and he's literally scrambling to keep it from fucking tanking.
Well, and now, admittedly, again, this is what I said with the fuck around and find out. He fucked around. He was like, I'll buy Twitter. That won't be a problem. And then it was like, oh shit, this is going to be a problem. And then he tries to back out, and Twitter is like, no, buddy. You said you'd pay us $40 billion. You better start paying, or we're going to call the FTC. Because, again, with business, there are certain restrictions on this to prevent people from just being absolute gremlins all the time. Like, yes, big corporations are, money-grubbing assholes who want to just get their bottom line and stuff. Billionaires are probably not great human beings. They are just regular human beings most of the time. Being imbued with extra cash does not imbue you with extra good boy points, basically.
Yeah.
But we are not quite in the robber baron era of, like, the Gilded Age, y'all. Like, there are actually laws, and there are courts of public opinion, and there are politicians who also need their palms greased in a certain sense, if not are outright here for the greater good. There's a whole system. Yeah.
Like, oh god. Like I said, like, I'm just gonna wait until everything actually falls apart.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna say this. Because Charlotte said some stuff in there. There's also a fuck ton of misinformation going on about this. Like I said, people said that because the offices were closing, people were like, oh, Twitter is closing. No, the servers are staying on. Now, admittedly, quite a few people have resigned in kind of protest to, some of these knuckle down measures or whatever, or just in general the change in culture, because I think that does seem like a fair cop. Elon Musk is probably changing the Twitter culture because he is trying to get his return on investment right the fuck now, which is maybe not the best business decision, but whatever.
Well, I think it's probably a good business decision, but it's not a good social. It's not a good social.
Yeah, it's a good business decision for him. Maybe not the best for Twitter to try and turn it around right away, because if you're too short-sighted, you run into problems. We've already seen that. But you do probably want to come with some kind of plan that they can make some money. So I think it's a fair cop if you're like, yeah, he's completely changed the culture around here. I want out. So it does seem like there may be no physical people at the paid positions anyway for Twitter's moderation team. They seem to have a lot less engineers, so we may be seeing errors. You may see issues with content moderation, which is probably going to be unfortunate to run. I personally haven't run into any technical issues. A lot of people last night said they had problems. I was also slam jamming the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel event at the same time. That ran way the fuck worse than Twitter. I got kicked out of several games due to connection issues. All right, yeah.
No, Elon Musk is doing some dumb things right now, but he's not the fucking devil.
No. And like I said, there's a lot of people who want to inflate this and meme on this and go on. Like, even in our own Discord, some people quoted a tweet from a guy who literally says parody account where he joked that he was the badge manager for Twitter and was fired, and then they accidentally turned off all the badges so everybody was locked out. No, people weren't in the building because I think the office closed. I saw a video of somebody, you know, allegedly on the Twitter office, there was the wraparound display being like, Elon Musk is a tool, and I'm like, that could be real or it could be photoshopped. I don't fucking know anymore. I've heard some reporting about the employees who are left are on work visas, so they don't want to quit, but I don't know if that's true. There's so much bullshit. We have truly crossed into the post-truth world. It's like, I don't really know what to believe, and I don't really know that there's any effort in, like...
Listen, when someone can make a fuck Twitter account about an insulin company and say insulin's gonna be for free, and that causes their fucking stock to literally fucking tank, I'm just like, what is this fucking world? What is truth in right now?
Yeah. Same with the other big one was Lockheed Martin lost a lot of money because they said that somebody with a fake account said they were suspending arms sales to Saudi Arabia due to their alleged human rights abuses. And which, to be fair, we may actually see a slowdown. The Saudis really tried to fuck us on oil not too long ago, and then they immediately cried about Iran's gonna invade them. So we'll see how Daddy US feels about bailing their asses out if they're gonna stockpile the oil prices. I would not be shocked if there are some U.S. government officials who are like, all right, we're gonna see how. Well, maybe the anti-Iran missiles blow if that oil. But you know what I'm saying, Jack? We'll see how that shakes out. Personally, I am of the opinion that I'm very hopeful that the CIA is in fact manipulating Iran right now and aiding their democratic revolution that is hopefully coming. Because if it's not coming, unfortunately, a lot of people are going to get killed, and it's going to be really sad. The Iranian government has voted to authorize a lot of death sentences for protesters against the government, which is very tragic and not cool in this day and age. But I would love democratic Iran as an ally, because the Saudis kind of suck. Pretty sure they funded 9/11. They try to fuck us over on oil all the time. And what do they do with it? They just buy our weapons and don't really clean up anything in the Middle East. So it's an unfortunate diplomatic relationship. They're gonna have fun in 10 to 20 years when we finally switch to green energy. We'll get there.
Eventually.
We also nearly had World War III again. A missile hit Poland and killed a couple of guys. That was a real gut check moment there. At least officially, I'm not going to get in any conspiracy theories, but people are officially, NATO is saying it was a misfired Ukrainian missile, and it was a horrible tragedy, and it's still Russia's fault, because if Russia wasn't firing, hundreds of thousands of missiles at Ukraine, the Ukrainians wouldn't have to throw up so many defensive missiles to try and shoot them down so that their infrastructure and civilian population centers don't get bombed. And we're still very mad at Russia. But it was not a Russian missile, because that would have required NATO to be like, okay, we have to do something now. If we don't do something, why do we exist, that would have been, we're getting opposed to the World War III clown shoes moment. So, and as always, somehow Twitter possibly imploding is not the worst thing that could be fucking happening in our week. But yeah, there's a lot of shit going on, and there's a lot of, fake-ass shit happening. I don't know what's true about Twitter or not anymore.
Oh, God.
I think trying to sift the bullshit from the truth, it does feel like this is probably long-term a pretty big blow to Twitter. You're going to see more bugs, more errors, more problems, and lack of moderation over the next coming weeks and months. Until, maybe that Twitter 2.0 happens, or Elon does the thing he's talked about where he gets to, pivot to a new CEO and maybe get his investment back by selling it off to other people, et cetera, et cetera.
Please don't sell it to China. Please don't sell it to China. Please don't sell it to China.
Honestly, I think the people who are most interested... Also, I'm going to be real. If he tries to sell it to China, I feel like the government will step in.
True, but still.
Who is it? Is it NetEase? No, it's somebody. It's whatever Chinese company has a significant but not controlling interest in TikTok. Even now, 2 years on from the new election and the new, administration, the Federal Trade Commission is still saying, even if it's not a controlling share, China has too much juice in TikTok, y'all. Like, there is serious government pressure to get them to sell it, or we may have to block TikTok in this country, which is freaky to think about because TikTok is huge.
Yeah.
But like, even so, even if it's not a controlling access, China has too much access to TikTok, like in the government's eyes. So like, if Elon tries to sell Twitter to China, like I feel like somebody's gonna fucking explode in our government. Honestly, the people who I think would be most interested, probably Japan. A shitload of Japanese companies have integration with Twitter as like an app. Like think of all the gacha games that use Twitter to log in. Skeb is an art commission service that I usually hear from Japanese artists. That is all run through Twitter authentication. Like, it's kind of wacky how Twitter has been the default and most comfortable social media app to just plug into. So there's a lot of vested interest in people going for it, which is why I want to say, like, again, trying to like pick through like people are bullshitting that Twitter is fine. I don't know if Twitter is fine, but it's also not fucking broken, right? Like, Twitter is not fine, but Twitter is not on fire. Like, it's not literally collapsing. People were like, yo, if Twitter fucking goes down, here's our socials. And I'm like, I don't think Twitter's going to shut down. I still gave us a link to our Discord server. No. He's getting laser beamed. Oh. Lots of lasers. You died. Like, there's a lot of wacky and wild stuff going on. But, personally, my thought is, again, because Twitter feels so integral and you know, like, is important to so many companies, what's probably going to happen is, well, it's funny you say near peer. I think there's a lot of argument to be had there. There's debates on whether or not some of China's technology, because we have done a lot to box them out of semiconductors lately. And it's very clear that Russia is no longer a near peer nation. But anyway.
Wolf, no!
Rip.
He was just slightly off.
Just missed it. I suspect it gets a little crowded. How many people is this raid?
24.
Yeah.
Three teams of 8.
Yeah,
3
it gets a
tanks,
little.
6 healers, and fucking 15 DPS.
Gets a little cramped, I think, when you got that many people rolling around.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, so like personally, I think we've got the best worst case scenario kind of thing, and then the regular worst case scenario. Like ultimately, I do think the worst case scenario is Twitter does somehow go under, it becomes non-solvent, and then to make its money back, Elon Musk will sell you the source code, or somebody will dump it online, and we'll have Knitter in 6 to 12 months. You may experience a downshift, but then somebody will just take the source code that made Twitter usable and find a new one. Man, you guys got bunkled.
Well, now we're going to phase 2!
Now with more creepy dolls.
Listen, this is the Nier Automata raid.
Yeah, it is. No, I know what's up. This is a fucking Yoko Taro shit. You have to fight weirdly muscular doll women who will fuse into a giant woman.
God damn it, Yoko Taro.
And people say that, FromSoft games are fucking weird. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure that there's some proprietary backend shit, but somebody owns that code, and that means that code is worth money. So it will end up sold if Twitter goes, bankrupt. I don't think it will disappear. The other thing that I think is more likely, what I think will happen is, those other companies who have a vested interest in Twitter staying up will be like, okay, this is going nowhere. We need to get the fuck together and help subsidize this system that we rely on to make shit work, because it's going to be way more of a pain in the ass if Twitter just explodes. And whether that is Elon, sells his shares to a council to make sure Twitter run good or what, I don't know. Like I said before on Discord, I don't want to say Twitter is too big to fail, but Twitter is very important to a lot of companies and a lot of users. Like, I think Twitter is still generally considered to be one of the best outlets for artists, because you can mostly post what you like and don't have to futz too much with specific tagging systems or anything. Mastodon is really interesting. It's got a very Twitter-like feel, but it's also divided up into servers for specific topics, and you have limited interactions across servers. So, like, if you just want to be on Mastodon for art, you can do that, but then you're not going to be, like, on Mastodon for video game updates the same way, you know? Also, Mastodon, from what I understand, has a very hellacious tagging system, which includes not only your normal types of tagging for content, but also shit like tags, eye contact, tags, food, or content warning food, technically is I think how it's phrased. Which I technically understand why some people may have concern about that, but also it's apparently like really granular and they get really mad if you don't follow the tagging, and that's not good for like being a big mass market influx of users. So yeah, Twitter is important for lots of people for lots of things. There's so much infrastructure. Like, think of how many fucking gacha games run their social media presence through Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Like, social media interaction rewards. Where do they go? They can't go to Mastodon because they want to get mass market appeal. It will work with across servers. FGO does technically run through Facebook, but Facebook is also a hell company that is run by one man's vanity and might also explode because Meta is losing a shitload of money because Mark Zuckerberg really wants to become a villain from Ready Player One. Seriously, how does he understand what the metaverse is and not understand that he is a cyberpunk bad guy? I don't know. But anyway, like, honestly, like you said earlier, the original Twitter creator kind of said that, like, some of this is his fault for just Twitter getting out of hand growth-wise, Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like we're just kind of seeing a natural ratchet back on a lot of tech companies where they realize that, like, oh, hey, infinite growth isn't sustainable because it never is. You always think it is, and it's not. That's not how this works.
Listen,
And-
fucking bubbles collapse, y'all.
Yeah. There was a dot-com bubble before. I think we're kind of like not quite the same way, but we're kind of in that space where like a lot of tech companies who thought they were bulletproof, it turns out there are a lot of back-end issues to making all this money and making all this growth so fast, Like, Facebook and Meta have their own problems with, being, with Zuckerberg's passion projects. Twitter is now in the hands of Elon Musk, who is also, very idiosyncratic and eccentric and stuff, doing his own thing. I personally am never going to stay fully mad at Elon Musk because I think he has done a lot to push the space stuff. Though, hey, fucking Artemis rocket launched. Thumbs up. They finally got it in the air.
Yeah.
This one's not manned, but it is going to orbit the moon. Next year is going to be a manned mission to orbit the moon, and then I think in 2 years we're going to put people back on the moon.
Like,
But still.
Elon, like I said, my problem, like, I don't think Elon Musk is necessarily a bad person. He is just a dude trying to accomplish his dreams and goals.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that usually involves throwing a lot of money at things and not entirely knowing and not entirely.
I mean, yeah. Basically, like, a lot of people like pick out Elon Musk as like, oh, he's a particular dumbass or he's a particular genius. No, I think like a lot of people, Elon Musk is just a dude. The main thing is, once again, he has loads of money, which basically you're seeing Elon Musk's equivalent to Gunpla, guys. Like, he has a hobby with like weird tech shit and just saying whatever the fuck he likes and having enough cash to back it up. But can we say we also make sound financial decisions? We play gacha games, okay? Like, this is... We are seeing the equivalent in real time of Elon Musk, burning his soul's fire to roll an SSR. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy Twitter. Maybe I don't want to buy Twitter. Fuck it, I have to buy Twitter. What do I do now? Shit. It costs a lot of money, Like, I know guys on our server who play fucking Japanese crane games for cash. I know people who buy Gunpla. I buy, fucking trading cards. Lots of other people do too, Like, we all have our hobbies, and it's just the main thing that is just, like, it's there. I mean, yes, he has a more wide-ranging reach because of all that money.
But also, here's the thing. It's like, again, if the jobs that you're getting paid for doesn't actually profit the company, why does that job exist?
True.
People don't like to fucking hear that, but it's fucking true.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, like, we can argue if this is a failure of our capitalist society, like, that you need to work, but then also you need to be productive to work. Yeah, it's bullshit a lot of the time, considering we're in a creative industry. It's bullshit, but it is what it is. And you're not gonna... The corporation isn't gonna function if it doesn't think some of these things.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to point out, once again, though, I am rewatching a Let's Play of Final Fantasy VII Remake. We are still not at Shinra Electric Power Company levels. Keep in mind, Shinra Electric Power Company owns a city, wages international wars, produces mutant guard animals for fun. Like, we're not there yet, okay? I talked about how I made a tweet the other day about how I feel like we're living in the prelude to a cyberpunk setting, but without the man-portable railguns and internet in my eyes.
God damn it.
Like, we're still really close on the verge of a possible World War III bullshit, which happens a lot in cyberpunk backstories. We've got, tech billionaires throwing around cash for fun, making weird wide-ranging decisions. There's all kinds of political unrest nonsense going around. Though, hey, somehow, despite everybody saying that the Senate was going to go hardcore Republican, it might actually flip Democrat. What people think the issues are key on is pretty wild. Though, despite the fact that he is actively being investigated for, possible treason and shit, Donald Trump did announce he's running for president again.
Why?
Because he is also an eccentric guy full of money, and he's an egotist. He thinks it's all about him. And a lot of people in the Republican Party are kind of getting over it because they would like the party goals to go forward. A lot of Trump's handpicked candidates in really hard-fought districts did not win. Which, yes, the House did get the majority to the Republicans. This is very typical. In the midterms, it almost always goes the other way. However, you may have been hearing prior to the election day this thing about the red wave. There was supposed to be a huge upsurge in Republican seats. It was so called that despite the fact that they did technically win House majority and that will have political ramifications, most Republicans and most media outlets are treating it as a loss because they were projected to win really big. They only won a little tiny amount. So they won by so little of a margin that it's almost kind of embarrassing how big they called their shot beforehand. So, yeah. It's kind of funny how you guys can still technically, they can technically win. But it feels like a loss because people were saying it was going to be a really big win. Politics are kind of similar to economics in that way, right? Like, just because you turn a profit doesn't mean that you're successful, because if you called that you were going to make a fuck ton of profit, people are like, hey, you only made $1 billion. Why did you say you were going to make $4 billion? You got to be careful about these expectations. So we live in really weird, interesting times. The big splash. That's a good one. That's funny. Yeah. It's again, like I said, I feel like we are living through like the start of the cyberpunk nightmare, only none of the cool shit has happened yet. It's all just the boring, depressing shit.
No.
But we'll see how it shakes out, Look at this guy flaunting. He's got a black chocobo and it flies.
Oh no, this is my yellow chocobo. I just dyed it. I fed it so many things that I turned purple. It's like a flamingo.
Oh, okay.
Then
From the zoom out window, it looks very, very blackish.
I mean, I do got a black chocobo.
Well, I know you do, because you had a lot of fun playing Minion Mount Roulette the other night, just reading descriptions. It's okay. I did a lot of jogging up and down Ishgard. There was a lot of dead air. Everybody loves Ishgard.
Especially the Ishgardians.
I can't tell if they love Ishgard or not, actually. It's hard to tell sometimes. I can tell you what they don't like. Dravanians. Drakes. They're real mad about those. Yeah, anyway. Like I said, it's interesting. I try to keep decently plugged into news. Part of that is actually through Twitter. Like, I personally, I know a lot of people call Twitter a health site, but, honestly, it's all about following and ignoring bullshit and what's happening you don't care about. And, telling Twitter to fuck off with that and not throw that at you. Sometimes you see some interesting things in trending and what's happening that wouldn't have got you, but mostly I just use it to follow, artists and, YouTube channels I care about.
Really? Iconoclasm? Really?
What's up?
Oh, I'm doing a Shadowbringers raid, which is weird.
Yeah, well, it seems full. Neato. That said, by the way, we will eventually get there. Like, I know that there's still some flaws with the Neuralink thing, which is another Elon Musk baby, but they were at least going places and did have monkeys, like, controlling computers with their minds, even if they did die. We're getting closer. There's a lot of other, science tech going on, and I am certain that in the terms of the man portal railgun joke, that there are a lot of military-industrial complex companies eyeballing, China's posturing on Taiwan and the Russo-Ukrainian war, going like, okay, well, big budgets, time to come up with some new toys. We are actually getting. This is so weird. So I follow a subreddit called Non-Credible Defense. They're good for memes, and they're mostly shit posting about the war and other stuff. I've learned that. So Russian propaganda mostly just sucks. It's like literally fake ass news that's just like, we're better and we're not dying. You are gay Satanist Nazis. Never mind that that's not how any of those ideologies work. Chinese propaganda about America is hilarious. It's like they can't not make us seem like huge badasses. Like, I get what some of the propaganda is going for, but, like, it's hilarious you see some of these classics. That's where Dark Brandon comes from. That was, like... What? Oh, you don't know about Dark Brandon memes? Hold on. Okay, let me see if I can grab the image. So,
This is gonna kill me. This is gonna fucking kill me. We're going... Okay, no, red's getting fired first, and then blue. I got... Shit.
Alright, let me just double check that this is the correct source image. So I'm sure you know the origin of the Let's Go Brandon thing, right?
Yeah.
Where there was a fuck Joe Biden that got counteracted. Well, so yeah, it's got the Chinese watermark. So people, China has made some fucking memes about our stuff. I will post it in Mod Channel. You'll see the little Chinese artist tag. This is apparently some fucking state propaganda about President Biden. And so this has created the meme about Dark Brandon. That's the dark version of the president who does the bullshit, like, calling up, getting shit done, eating ice cream, selling HIMARS to Ukraine. But yeah, it's just like a fucking sick image of glowing eyes, Joe Biden sitting on a Game of Thrones of fucking guns with his hands outstretched, and it's supposed to be like, oh no, what a terrible guy, but like, nah, it makes him look like a baller. And there's unfortunately for them, there's a lot of images like this. Like, they keep trying to take shots, it doesn't really work. Like, they did like a weird Last Supper thing, and they cast America in as a bald eagle in the slot of Jesus. Like, okay, are you trying to make us look bad, guys? You're portraying us as Jesus Christ, That has a different read over here in the West. But yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff coming out of there from NCD. But I get news from them sometimes, and they like to post about tech and stuff. So Northrop Grumman, the airplane manufacturer, is coming out with a new model of plane, B-21 Raider. We're gonna get a new stealth bomber, guys.
Cool.
They announced this via like they're a fucking tech company dropping a new phone. Like, they're like, more news in December. Look at this cool silhouette. Like, it's pretty funny. But also, yes, by the way, if you like stealth bombers, apparently we've backordered a fuck ton of these things, so they must be good. I think I read a stat that we're gonna try and buy like 500 over the next like 10 years. A lot of fucking stealth bombers, geez. What the fuck is? We're saying friend bot. What the fuck is a friend bot? like a specific person. There's a lot of fan art of one guy over and over again. I don't get it. Twitter, you're weirding me out again.
No, it might be a content creator thing.
Yeah, probably a specific guy. That happens sometimes with people I don't follow at all. Like, I don't know anything about this Dream dude or what he's doing, but I know he plays Minecraft, and he's got, you know, kind of a bland face from when he showed his face. And also, he might be a groomer, according to the internet, maybe, but he hasn't been canceled yet, so I'm sure the evidence can't have mounted up too highly. Fucking wild bullshit, of course. Then also, I feel like the phrase groomer has completely fucking meaning. It's just the latest form of attack. Remember when everybody on the internet was cucks? Oh, you're a cuck. Well, now it's just like, you're a groomer.
Oh, I remember incel.
Incel, another one. Yeah, that's a... Like, the internet just goes through these cycles of weird insults, appellations, whatever. I'm sure in, like, 2 years we'll have something new to freak out about. I don't know what it'll be. But we'll be there. I mean, it's like how trigger warning is got completely co-opted and completely fallen out of favor.
Yeah.
Like, nobody takes it seriously anymore.
Well, that's how it is with the human psyche. It's like we always everyone just gets hooked on whatever big kerfuffle it is until there's a new big kerfuffle, and then everyone forgets about the previous kerfuffle.
Oh yeah, simp got thrown around as derogatory for a while, so much so that I think some you know, I know it was a big thing when VTubers would like ban you for saying simp, and like I think Twitch got on people for that, and then it just fell off because it was like it was no longer capable for you to do it just to be funny, you know. So then you got to just drop it. I still occasionally see simp, but usually in like a self-effacing way. You know, jokes about gacha games. Never will I ever simp. Show somebody a Nikkei ass shot. I'm here. Sign me the fuck up. Boomer still works because boomers are not all dick, but I don't feel like people are saying okay boomer as much anymore. It kind of like naturally faded. You got a lot of saturation. Honestly, like talking about it, I think the Twitter thing is kind of like that. Like for several hours last night, Twitter was just fucking melting with like all the trending topics were just so Twitter, did Twitter, was Twitter. And then it just fucking, yeah.
You know, Twitter is dead. Goodbye, Twitter. You know, all these little things.
And hey, it's a new day. Twitter did not explode. I do see hashtag Twitter shutdown trending occasionally. Probably talking about the offices being closed and if the actual site will shut down. But yeah, it's not the same. Okay. For some reason, Nobu is trending. And at least according to me clicking on that trend, yes, that Nobu. Don't know what that's about, but, you know, the internet's weird sometimes. I know that I think Shiro and Muramasa were trending earlier this week because apparently Korea got Muramasa early for their 5th anniversary? Did they also get Castoria, or did we skip a step here? I don't know.
Let's see here. For me, let's see here. Kobeni from Chainsaw Man. We got Scotty.
Yep, I see that one also.
Warframe is trending for me. I think it's because they have a new thing coming out. Cyberpunk is trending. Game Freak is really trending. Jesus. Yeah, my two big ones here is hashtag Twitter shutdown at 44.5k tweets. And I think following that up is Kobeni at 30 tweets. I find that hilarious that everyone like, as you know, Twitter's my main function, my main social media function. But I find it absolutely hilarious that everyone is complaining about Twitter on Twitter.
Yeah, it's because they don't have anywhere else to go.
I'm just like
Twitter is kind of a singular experience. I know some people have gone back to Tumblr because Tumblr has been through their own ups and downs of mass exodus and comeback and whatever. I know very recently Tumblr has like loosened up some of their rules. Nipples are okay on Tumblr again. You cannot draw or show the sex, but you can show a nipple on Twitter. Or not Twitter, Tumblr. So you can definitely show nipples on Twitter. Trust me, I know. But yeah, it's really interesting like how stuff goes in. My trends currently are right now, Twitter shut down 44.6, and then no number on the number of tweets, but it's WotC is in Wizards of the Coast, and then for me, Cloud and Tifa is trending. Unless, no, I was watching some Final Fantasy VII earlier.
Listen, they'd be taking my data.
Yeah, unfortunately, Twitter is on my phone, and I do check it there pretty regularly. Usually when I get up, I'll back scroll to see if I missed anything interesting during the night, you know. I like to wake up and just be like, hey, is the world on fire right now? And yes, Twitter is my first source for that, because it's a lot easier than, like, trying to filter through Google News trying to tell me what stories I care about, because they're not really good at that.
They're really not. Like, I usually end my day on my tablet in my bed, and I usually do scroll through Twitter news, and it's always just the most random assortment of shit, and I'm just like, they'll get me with a couple things, I'm all like, oh no, I'm interested in this, now I gotta read.
Yeah.
But the other ones, I'm just all like, I do not care about 90% of these news stories.
Like, for right now, let's see. So right now, what Google says is for me, not just their top stories, which I admit in a lot of areas I don't care about. But it's 4 hours ago, PSA Steam is down. Don't know about that one anymore. IGN. Hasbro is selling something called E1. Scientists are working on Interstellar Interceptor to play hide and seek with the Oumuamua object. That's pretty neat. If you guys don't know about that, that's this weird object, which is believed to be canonically interstellar. We've identified that it came from outside our solar system, and it's got kind of a weird cylindrical shape on our telescopes. So it's pretty cool. We're gonna go throw a rock at that and see what's up.
That's how horror movies start, by the way.
Well, no, not always. That's also how the series, the Rama series starts, which was good for us. It's eerily similar, by the way. The weird interstellar object thing in Rama is also a weird, space cylinder. I've got a list of the 9 best science fiction fantasy novels of 2022. I don't recognize any of these. Maybe. I think I've seen that cover for If Women Could Fly. That is technically in my wheelhouse. I did a lot of reading and prepping for and clicking on news stories about Note of the Ninth. So, Elizabeth Holmes, Theranos founder, sentenced to 11.25 years in prison.
Oops.
That's for that health thing that happened. And Walmart is going to have PS5 restocks for Black Friday. Not relevant to me, but you guys might want to know.
Prepare to do battle.
Well, we'll see. We did crash into an asteroid recently to try and figure out if we could deflect it. Some people were upset about that, about NASA spending taxpayer dollars. I think asteroid deflection is very important, actually, because what the fuck else are we gonna do about it? You gonna kiss your ass goodbye?
I mean, listen. We only have to get hit by an asteroid once, y'all. Just once.
And so I am very personal to, hey, I don't care how much taxpayer dollars we got to spend to make sure that works. I know some people are like, NASA's just going to hit an asteroid away from the Earth to see what happens. And I'm like, yes, okay, this could have unintended consequences, but you know what? It could have the intended consequences of moving an asteroid away from Earth as an experiment, just in case, we ever need that. Which, hey, we might. There are a lot of big fucking craters on this planet. And there are a lot of mass extinctions. Humans have caused a lot of kerfuffle in the past, couple hundred years with industrialization, but species were also going mass extinct way before we even got here. Way before anything even resembling us got here. Way before mammals even got here, shit was mass dying.
I mean, we've been through 4 or 5 mass extinction events on this planet.
Yeah, there's a couple of big ones, and a lot of them are really fucking old. Some of them are not, and I'm not going to say that we shouldn't be concerned about our effect on our natural environment. We've only got one Earth, y'all. For now. But there's also a lot of cosmic shit people don't pay attention to. Space is scary.
Space is...
That's that's part of why the government is interested in the Artemis program. We're straight up, at least currently, the government's agenda for NASA is permanent moon base. We want to put people on the moon, and we want to keep them there, round the clock, so we can use it as a staging area for further shit.
Listen, it's several billion years away, but we got to get past fucking Jupiter at some point.
Yeah. Hell, even if we get to Jupiter, there's a lot of neat shit around Jupiter.
Oh yeah.
Jupiter's got a lot of energy. It's got a huge magnetic field, a lot of radiation. There's probably some energy exploitation we could do there. Mercury's also really neat if you want to go inside. The moon is also probably pretty important. A lot of people, to get non-radioactive stable fusion, we probably need a lot of helium-3. You want to get helium-3, there's supposed to be a decent amount of it in the surface, the regolith on the moon surface, and the rest is in gas giants, so, because helium-3 is very light. So we gotta, not a lot of it left
this
on
is
Earth.
called Swipe F. You motherfuckers.
The fucking quest names and fate names are so good in 14. The localizers are having a fucking ball. I don't know why, Google, I don't know why you said this is a story for me, but it's funny. Qatar has banned beer at the 2022 World Cup. A great idea. I do not, I know what soccer culture is like. You should not booze them up. Ooh, FDA has approved lab-grown meat.
Oh, sick.
Fit for human consumption. That's good.
How do they grow it?
Let me see if this Yahoo News story can cover it for me. Okay. First time, Food and Drug Administration has cleared lab-grown meats created from cultured animal cells.
Ooh.
The green light only applies to chicken products made by Upside Foods. Let's see if I can find out their process.
I mean, if it looks like meat and tastes like meat, you know, I really don't
I mean,
care
yeah,
what-
no. Like, they're, as far as I can tell, the story's very brief, but it seems like, it is, you know, basically it is vat grown. It is chicken that is grown in like the equivalent of a petri dish. So it's all chicken cells. It's just, so it's chicken meat. It's just, you know, from a vat.
Interesting. Well, let's move forward on that.
Yeah.
I guess that's.
It's been approved by Food and Drug and the Department of Agriculture, so we'll see.
Like I said,
There's questions whether or not that will actually affect our carbon output, but it apparently uses much less water than growing a whole ass chicken. So.
Well, no, that's the other thing. It's like it's a question of sustainability. Is it cheaper to fat grow than it is to? Yes. Unfortunately,
I mean,
the question.
resource-wise, if it does use less water, that's probably good. We're really bad with water.
Yeah, I know, but then this is gonna start involving questions of how much is the fucking poultry industry gonna be like? Wait a fucking minute here.
I mean, if it's cheaper for them, some of them might want to switch. It depends on whether or not the process is like fully patented or opaque. Which honestly, that also monopolies make you suspicious. I do believe in competition. That's another news story that's kind of funny this week. Ticketmaster's monopoly on event sales may be threatened because apparently people had a big problem getting tickets to Taylor Swift stuff. Because Ticketmaster was very buggy and, you know, crashed a lot of times for a lot of, you know, things going on. And it got so much so that lawmakers are tweeting about their monopoly. Yeah, that is the thing. Processed meat is very cheap.
Like, I can understand, like, people don't want monopolies, but at the same time, I also don't want a dearth of separate things. Like, I complain about this fucking constantly when I'm trying to watch me animes.
Yeah, it's there's definitely a sweet spot between like every motherfucker in the world thinks they can sustain it on their own with a marketplace, you know, like because no, they can't sustain it on their marketplace. They're gonna have to make cuts and stuff, and we're gonna see it shake out. But also, like I said, having everything run through literally one service, that has problems too. Like I said, with the Ticketmaster thing, like they were overburdened by problems with tours and had issues with selling out. They had bad queues. People got fucking dropped. People are upset. Scalpers who got the tickets are selling the tickets for way the fuck overpriced. And there's literally nothing to be done because the only people selling these tickets, other than possibly you can go to the venue yourself in person and ahead of time, but even then probably they still interface through Ticketmaster, you know? And that's like, well, fuck, what do we do, you know? Like, I think a little competition is good. It is actually good for people to have competitiveness because if you don't have any competition, you get complacent. You know? You don't, there's no pressure for you to evolve and to keep changing. You just keep doing the same things over and over again. I think I've talked about this before where, like, this is kind of my complaint sometimes with the way FromSoft games are made, for instance. I feel like they get passes on some stuff like with their camera and other things that like because the games are the way they are, people don't necessarily fight them on small stuff they could work on improving, and they just don't fix them at a rate that like companies would probably normally iterate on. But you know, if you have competition, it's good. It drives you up there. You go to yourself and say, "Oh, okay, we need to keep improving stuff."
That's a lie, Legendary Boss Hunter, because the thing that people want to get away from cable services is not being able to, is getting a bunch of things that they don't want and not being able to binge it.
Well, and also being overcharged for those things you
Yeah.
don't want. Like,
Yeah.
cable bills are huge. Like, technically, if you do buy all streaming services, it does look a lot like your cable bill. The main
Like-
thing is just having an outlet for, like, different shows and stuff.
Like, I'm gonna be real. I have a Netflix subscription. Guess what? I watch like 1% of the shit on Netflix. Like, and guess what? Usually it's anime.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm paying like I'm paying like whatever it is to well, actually no, that's a lie. That is a fucking lie. I don't know why I said that. I don't pay for my Netflix. My friend pays for Netflix and he just lets me piggyback off of that. But I would if he wasn't letting me fucking piggyback off of that.
Well, and it's also your housemate as well as is that person, right? So it's still your household.
Yeah, but it's still a thing of like, that's probably the only reason why I got it is because someone else is technically paying for it. Like, I would not want to pay for, like, I have High Dive. I hate High Dive for two reasons. A, like, I don't think it needs to exist. I really don't think it needs to fucking exist. And like, I feel like it's just they're just trying to maintain a fucking competition with the fucking Crunchyroll Funimation merger. And they got stuff on there, and they got stuff that I want to watch, but they don't have, like, a console player, so I have to watch it on my fucking computer, which is not how I usually like to watch anime. Usually, because I like doing stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm multitasking here.
Yeah.
But, you know, here we are. So I have to pay for High Dive, I have to pay for Crunchyroll, I pay for my Amazon Prime. Someone else pays for the fucking, for the Netflix, which I am eternally grateful for. But I still have to pay for, like, we don't have our Hulu Disney Plus thing because we forgot the fucking password and we're just like, whatever.
Yeah. But that's me on the flip side. Like, yeah, I'm on my parents' Netflix as well because it's, you know, it's a house expense. I pay my own for Disney Plus and Hulu, and I'm probably getting a little gouged on that, but that's because they have their own fucking shit on there that's not all in one service, you know?
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I can understand. Like, if it was just like a solid, like, you know, 2 or 3, yeah, sure, I pay for them. Just for my
And that's
anime.
to say nothing of the fact neither of us in our households pays for instance, you know, HBO Max.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh god, like, I understand people don't want monopolies, but I feel like I really need to pay attention to this.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, I think back in the day, Netflix wasn't a monopoly. It's just nobody else put any credit in Netflix's business model. And then, hey, streaming is cool. And then everybody was like, oh, fuck, I can get people to pay to stream my shit on the internet? Well, why the fuck am I letting Netflix license this? I could take all the money myself. And then everybody and their mother was like, I'm going to take all my money and run. And hey, it's working out for some people. I think for Disney and their, you know, ownership of ESPN sports streaming and, you know, Hulu and stuff. And since they merged with like some of the Fox, you know, production studios, they have enough of a catalog to make that kind of system work. But I know that WB owning HBO has been going through huge budget cuts and like dropping shit off their platforms because they need to like, you know, save money and shit. Netflix has experienced significantly decreases in their growth, but is not necessarily losing money in subs as much yet. Like, everybody tried to immediately get a piece of the plot. Fucking Paramount Plus, fucking worthless. Why would anybody need that? It's literally just for Star Trek. And some Star Trek these days isn't even good. So why would you bother?
No, so it's just like, no, it's like, I can understand people like thing, but like, I have to like put so much into like.
I mean, like, okay, you know, Netflix tries to acquire their slice of the anime pie, obviously, and I think they do a decent amount of back funding. You know, they're able to put the Netflix production
they put money back
label
into
on it because they're willing to pay out big fees to get those exclusives. You know, partially fund series or fully fund series.
Yes.
which is not that unusual. I think I've talked about this. There's a reason why you won't find Ghost in the Shell standalone complex a lot of places. It's because Adult Swim partially funded those seasons. Like, they've got the rights to it because they put the money in, you know? So it's not new.
No, but at the same time, I'm just like, God, I'm just...
I wish we could come to a more... Because, honestly, this system isn't convenient for consumers either. That's the thing, right?
Right.
It's convenient for all the different outlets because they all get to nickel and dime you for their product or whatever that you got to go compete with. It's competitive, but it's also not competitive because mostly it's just everybody sticking to their little walled gardens, you know? It's kind of the same thing that, like, Apple got in a lot of trouble for their walled garden mentality where it was like, okay, we run the App Store, so all your apps got to go through us. And we don't care if you got an Android, but if you're on an iPhone, woo, we're Apple. But yeah, no, like, I feel like there could be some compression there. Though, hey, fun news. I put this in Discord a while ago. Discord just announced they're going to add activity tracking for Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna be able to display your activity as watching certain episodes. I hope that this is a bridge to their Watch Together feature, also incorporating Crunchyroll.
That'd be very nice. I do enjoy their fucking YouTube Watch Together feature.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I don't think I talked about this, but a couple weeks ago when we missed our first AP session, you weren't feeling up to it. I just got some of the boys together and we watched all of Gundam 8th MS Team because it was on YouTube. I just like queued it up. Some people went in and out, but it was just a good time. We jawed about Gundam. I got to, gush over some of my favorite moments because I really like that series, and it was cool. In addition to all the shit posts we watch, and if we could do that for Crunchyroll, I've talked before about how, like, for instance, you're not caught up on JoJo.
Nope.
You haven't watched Part 5 yet. I believe that's still on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
So we could do a little watch party sometime. That probably wouldn't take too long. The season is medium length. The length of JoJo parts is very weird. Like, Part 1, 4 episodes, right? Actually, it's 8 episodes, I think. It's still short. It's not even a full core, right? It's right. Like fucking short as hell.
It's more like a movie.
Yeah, basically. It's to the point. I think it's worth watching. One, because there's a lot of memes set up in there. Also, you get more Dio that way. Why don't you want more Dio?
Listen, just the fucking Dio straight up the wall is iconic in my brain forever.
Like I said, the meme potential. That's where Dio talks about the bread and reject his humanity. Also, goodbye, JoJo. See, you're talking about.
Dio da.
Yes, it was I, Dio. You get some Baron Zeppeli. Yes, I know Hamon is confusing and weird, and the vampire shit is also weird, but, like, it's okay. Roll with it.
Oh, my bird finished. I might get... Oh, sorry, I was about to... I'm about to say, I do think you probably need to get some off-screen Final Fantasy 14 time done.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. We're definitely at a point where I'm getting close to the level cap for the free trial. At that point, I will have to, like, probably start leveling other classes, and I will also need them to be functional at MSQs, or I will be wasting EXP. Mm-hmm. That will probably involve some off-camera stuff. That might be soon. I did technically do some stuff off-camera. After it was kind of a big hullabaloo last time, I finally did the darned Chocobo thing off-camera. Because I was sitting up at night and I'm like, I'm not doing anything right now. How long will this take? It still took me like 10 or 15 minutes off-camera with no distractions, and it was still kind of a pain in the butt at points. I did not realize there was a crystal right to that NPC's location because it was hidden by a quest marker. The quest markers are a little intrusive.
Just talk about Shafts 9.
Wish I could, tell it to, like, put certain icons above other icons, which I don't think I can do. At least not easily. But it was also still kind of goofy because, like, I talked to one NPC who's like, you smell like Chocobo. Go learn how to fight with Chocobo. Go complete the other place. And I'm like, all right, I'll go complete the other place. It involves that one fucking tree root where you go up on that always gets me every time.
Yeah.
So, like, it was not the most clean thing to do, but it was fairly simple to do off camera and take care of it. And there'll probably be more instances like that. It's also when I rejiggered my hotbars. So yeah, I don't know when the exact cutoff is, but like I said, I'm like level 52 or something. The level cap through Heavensward is 60, and that's as far as the free trial goes. So we'll be capping Dragoons sometimes very soon, probably. And then I will have to probably take some breaks, and some of that you guys will probably not want to watch me go back and do random side quests. So that will probably be shit I do, possibly even completely in my own time. Depending.
Well, Crystal Starlight was bringing it up. Apparently, the complete Final Fantasy collection is 50% off.
Yeah, it is. I still don't. There's a lot of games coming out now. I'm still like, I don't know if I want to commit to the pay time for play. Like, that's why the free trial is really good, because I've been taking a very relaxed state of this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff coming out. It is also a pretty good deal, though. I'll think about it. It might be a wise investment, but I gotta wait with other stuff, because obviously I've talked about this. I want to keep an eye out for deals for computers and stuff. I think I'm gonna have to buy a new TV soon. My current one is getting temperamental.
Oh.
It takes a while to fire up all its juices and turn on in the morning, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need a new TV. And well, I play 14 through my PS5, so if I don't have a TV, it doesn't matter how cheap buying Final Fantasy 14 was. So I got to think about stuff. I think I am committed, but at the same time, like I said, with my current rate of play, I like not stressing about whether or not I'm getting my money's worth of my monthly play time. It's a little easier on me, but I will have to. I sense that I am close to the point of knuckling down, and having to get some extra work in. So we'll keep it in mind for everybody. The streams still seem to do well. The Titan one got quite a bit of views, and I think the since I switched the title because I had absolutely no idea what to call last stream when I scheduled it, the Ishgard one is also getting up there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Though this is getting pretty good. This is already 63 views. We're not even done with it yet. Sadly, not a lot of you are watching are coming back to Plague Tale, even though I questioned if it was Game of the Year. Hopefully some people will rectify that over the upcoming weeks. I'm having fun, so. And, the more we get through that, the closer we are to Dad of Boy 2. But speaking of this episode being over, I kind of feel like I'm yawning, so we're probably getting close there.
Mm-hmm.
We have been going for 3.5, and I think I covered most of the big stuff I want to talk about. We did have an AP session. You should go watch it this week. It came out. It's cool. You did miss like 30 minutes because
I was dumb.
Lucky
Sorry.
forgot to turn on the recording right away, but it's
Yes.
okay. I think the session before that, I forgot to start recording the audio until like halfway through. I had to fucking re-download the video version and scrape the audio that way. So like, it's not the first time we're slamma jammed. But yeah. And also, I'm actually, well, it's probably because I haven't been using my PS5 for much other than watching YouTube videos. I do have, pretty sure I have the complete collection of Final Fantasy XIV on my wish list. And PlayStation will actually shout you out when stuff is on sale. Jackbox Party Pack 9 is on sale, for instance. It's only like, 10 or 20% off, so it's not a huge discount, but like, PlayStation did pop me a little alert, so I'm tracking a lot of these things. But yeah, so tomorrow we should be back for Let's Talk. How do I phrase it? I don't want to say like I'm down to fully commit that we'll do reaction type stream to the panel because I don't even know what the actual date on that is. Hold on, let me dig that up. What is the actual time of the panel?
I don't know if it's
Because between
14.
me and Lucky, we can probably 9:30, 6:30 p.m. It's a little early for us. We could probably just watch, hang out in our Discord and watch the panel stream and then immediately go record a show about it. We can decide how we're feeling with our scheduling, I guess, tomorrow. So like I said, I don't want to say for certain we're going to do full-blown reacty type time. We can probably figure that out between us, but again, I don't know what the exact timing of the panel or length is. But we will be recording Let's Talk FGO after that. If we are reacting, it will be live. If we're not reacting, it may or may not be live. I don't know. We can just record the show regularly and release it on Sunday. We'll figure it out. We'll see how we feel and what we're doing. How our cylinders are firing. But I'm sure there will be plenty of news, and we will definitely not be recording the show until the news. But with that said, we can probably wind us on down. Anything else happen with your week you want to be talking about, Lucky?
Not really. Like I'm thinking, no, not really.
You've been coming back from being sick. You've been playing games.
Yeah, no, like I've been mostly slamming Harvestella and Data Boy 2. Like I said, I went pretty hard on it. I did beat it, but like I said, I'm holding my thoughts until Mega has a chance to get through it.
Yep.
God damn it, they're still... Is this the Weeaboo Police still surrounding Tank program?
Damn, these guys are committed. They were doing this on Wednesday.
Oh, we have an orchestra. They're playing Nier Automata music.
Well, we should definitely wind down then, because YouTube will catch that shit. It's okay. They know it's a cover, but still, it's funny.
Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Just fucking giant block of guys around poor Tank program. Those guys are just lucky there's no, like, you know, random funny PvP. Nobody can just, you know, drop a nuke on them. Blarg. But okay, if Lucky doesn't have much to add, I don't really have anything too in-depth to add. I could faff around a little bit. But like I said, we're over 3.5 hours, you know. We're going towards 3 3/4, so I can wrap it up and go play more Pokemon. Also get some snack. Talk about that fucking chicken making me hungry.
Chicken. I went to the wrong location. I'm dumb.
That happens. That's okay. I know part of it's just because I'm embarrassed on stream, but like I feel like such a dumbass with directions playing this game. Hopefully, most of the audience doesn't get too annoyed. Axe does get kind of annoyed at me for not being pitch perfect all the time. He probably needs to cut that out, otherwise he's really just going to make both of us mad in the long term. But most people seem to give me some slack, but I admit I feel like a complete dumbass sometimes with my locations in this game.
I would really like to help you out, but like, I can never fucking full screen the fucking map on mine. And since you use controllers and stuff, I don't know the fucking commands and stuff that I can tell you to help things out. Yeah.
I mean, it's mostly okay. The map is pretty easy. I can figure out like my different layers to go through, but like it's still sometimes hard, like the way things are laid out. Oh. Listen,
Yes.
I appreciate your money in any form.
Yes, yes, pay me. I will yell at Axe even harder.
I mean, if you want to just do the thing we do on Fail Betrayal, where you tip us a couple bucks to be like, shush it, X. You know, same thing as we do like the usual, you know, super chat to say Dallas is wrong. Very common on Fail Betrayal.
Okay, I do have one in there.
But yeah, okay. Ugh. Probably ready to wind us down.
Righto.
All right, so like I said, keep an eye out for 14 meme 1.0 veteran still lost. Okay, well, so long as it's not just me. But, like I said, keep your eye out for something, Saturday or Sunday for Let's Deck FGO. I'm sure there'll be plenty of news. Hopefully we'll get a concrete release date on Heian-Kyo. I still feel like there's some stuff going on there. I mean, I can figure stuff out. I feel like you get on me for not being optimally, and I'm like, listen, I think it's because I'm smart. I don't give a fuck about being optimal. I'll figure it out,
I'll get there
Not everything
eventually.
has to be pitch perfect every time.
Time to buy gotcha boxes of minions. Yeah.
Lucky is super addicted to this.
I am. I love doing this.
What do you do if you get a dupe? Or can you get a dupe?
I can get dupes. Like this one. This is a dupe. I can either sell it or I'll throw it in the free company chests first so someone else can get it.
Neat.
Yeah, let's see. Both of these have been dupes so far.
But yeah, so keep your eye out on the weekend for that. Monday we'll be back for more Plague's Tale. Again, I do not know if we will be wrapping up or not. I mean, it's a little bit the impression you get, Axe. I feel like you're harsh on my buzz for not being optimal because I don't remember exactly where to go all the time, and I'm like, I don't know.
All right, Axe, I'm gonna need you to shut up so Omega can actually stop this show.
Also a frequent trope. Monday, Plague's Tale. Tuesday, probably more Fail Portrayal. Wednesday, definitely more Final Fantasy 14, unless I'm really sleepy or something. I don't fucking know. Probably not. I was sleepy last week and still did it. And then our usual calls to action. If you're watching this video on YouTube, be sure to give it a like, feed the algorithm. It's good for us and for you. You get more shows like this.
This lady is very green and tall. I can't get over it.
Yep. She's even got the green thing with her. It's fucking...
And
I think it's with her.
I come up to her fucking belly button. I love this. This gives me life.
That's just a quote from that Pint video. The shorter you are, the taller other races are. Anyway. Don't forget to leave a comment if you feel like it. Subscribe. Join our Discord, link in the description. I think I was technically for a couple of weeks there using the custom Discord invite link, which doesn't work anymore because we're no longer server boosted to that level, I guess. That's weird. Anyway, I made sure it's the correct one, I think. Let me double check. Yeah, no, Lucky's got the correct one copied. Because I did that for a couple of streams this week, so that should be fixed. If you want to jump in our Discord, link on our video channel was also good. So join our Discord. It's good. Especially if our Twitter explodes. You can also find our Twitter down there if you're not concerned about Twitter exploding. Sorry, trying not to lose my shit. What is that? A small dog?
Yeah, it's Wolf Pup.
Yes. Trying not to go squee. If you're new here, subs are good. If you've already subbed, ring the bell. Consider dropping a channel membership. Get access to membership badges and emotes. You can see the live chat now. It's really cool. And also, like I said at the front of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. There's an audio version of this that includes extra bonus before times. And also audio downloads for lots of our other shows and APs stuff. So it's really funzo.
Funzo!
And it helps support us through, hypothetically paying for 14 subs and Adobe subs and other stuff we're going to do and buying new video games. God, there's a lot of video games. Shit like that. Something I definitely am going to have to do, I forgot to mention until just now, is PlayStation Pluses are a part of a Black Friday sale. All 3 levels. I'm probably going to have to remember to stock up myself again because they're doing a month anyway. And it's definitely worth it if you are a PlayStation guy. So, check out those sales as well. Alrighty, everybody. Well, with that, I think we'll be seeing you for today. We thank you all for joining us on this lovely Friday evening. Hopefully be seeing you sometime in the not-too-distant future. And see you next week, probably on our usual Saturday time, for more What's Up. And with that, do you want to say goodnight, everybody?
Good night, everybody.
All right, cut the audio.